Welcome everybody to podcast number 133. We kind of have a special podcast here. We're going to fly by the seat of our pants. So many guests coming in and going. If you haven't heard, I know not all the provinces do it, but most of the provinces have their open provincials on Easter weekend. And Five Pin Universe was happy to host some live streaming for the Alberta provincials. And there was live streaming going on in Newfoundland, Ontario, Northern Ontario. I didn't see anything from BC, but there was so much going on the weekend. Oh, okay, perfect. They did as well. So much going on, so much bowling to watch. Hopefully everybody got their fill of competitive elite bowling for the past week. What are your guys' thoughts? I know, Daryl, you were part of the management team directing everything going on the weekend, and Timmy, you were involved in a winning team, but DB, get your thoughts on how it all went and
it was a fun weekend, and obviously engaging and talking and doing some of the live commentary across the country, or for Alberta, some of the people were commenting, Northern Ontario's doing this, or Ontario's doing this, or Manitoba, of course, with the snowstorm happening. And it was kind of fun just to sort of interact. We didn't get a chance to really watch a lot of the stats from across the country, but and that's what's exciting about tonight. At the end of the Saturday or Sunday, all the winners start coming in and we start putting together a show and, getting some of our friends in and having a recap across the country of all the provincials. So it was a fun weekend, man. And obviously I didn't get to bowl, but involved with Edmonton as a manager and then setting up the cameras and moving those around. Everybody's respectful. I mean, this is the future, man. And you just said it, Carrie. Everybody's doing some sort of a live stream. So to be part of that, I mean, cutting edge and just pushing the boundary and pushing the doors, it's fun and happy to be a part of it. So I had a great weekend for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think we'll probably talk more about the team and the results oriented when we go to Alberta. But I think as a first time, I mean, we've done it with the tour, but first time 5 Pin Universe ran the Provincial Opens. And I know did some of the best capacity we've ever had. The commentary, you guys all enjoyed that? That was brand new. I know Daryl had a bunch of people in there, and every time I looked around where we were set up in the booth, there was somebody else back there, and from all different walks of life and all different part of the zones. I think you guys met Robert Doodle and Dusty Doodle. I mean, those guys were the hits, right? So yeah. They
came on. Gerald came on. Katie Rayner and Jen Baldwin did fantastic when they were on. Melinda came on.
Bradley Tickett was doing it too.
Yeah, Bradley Tickett. Michaela was on. Henry and Robert were there from the Average Pros. Yeah, it was cool, and it was people need to be comfortable with commentary, and it was really just talking about it, and it was fun to do it, and obviously a lot easier when there was people in front of us to talk about the 6 lanes rather than just the one on camera. So. It was fun for sure. It was and Jen was awesome, right? She's just so perfect to get her voice is so cute on the microphone in there. It was really good ad for sure. She was really good.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And if anybody that wasn't there, Bonnie Doon was great. They helped set up for us. I think they ran extension cords every 4 lanes, and so we were able to move things a little bit easier and keep things charged. I know that we had they gave us 2 rolling carts that they used for bottle pickups and stuff, and it was awesome. So if you wanted to move it over while another match is going, and maybe one's getting blown out or one was more important, we were able to do that, right? And I thought it was pretty cool for us to be able to do that. And I know there's tons of people, like even my casual Tuesday night league came up to me and say, "Man, we were glued to that all weekend long, right?"
Well, Thursday night, I think people were watching it. That was their TV show on Thursday night.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It was absolutely crazy, and and the whole place was packed, right? So it was double. It was great.
Wow, let's start a GoFundMe account to get us to Newfoundland first here. Hey, that's 5 Pin Universe in Newfoundland Nationals. That's the
goal. So since we're talking about Newfoundland, our host for the Nationals, we might as well start over there and kind of go over their results and bring in. We unfortunately have one guest from Newfoundland. We all know it was short notice and it's probably pretty late there already, but we're happy to bring in Mr. Brad Glynn. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, gentlemen. Good to see you.
Yeah, and obviously congratulations to you, Brad, on the men's team, and saw your post. So I knew you're a friend of the show. It was a quick, easy ad to message you to see if you're able to come on and help us recap Newfoundland, buddy.
Yeah, and I'm on call tonight, so I'm up till 12 o'clock anyway. So it was no add on to my evening.
Perfect.
Nice. Well, where do we want to start, guys? Do we want to start what the format, Brad, from Newfoundland? Do you do the singles qualifying on the Wednesday first, or what was, and then you do the teams and then the step ladder after, or where do we want to start for you?
So I'll start where you want to start. Kerry, you pick. You're the leader here.
What just did you do?
Okay,
Did you do
so-
singles qualifying before?
Yeah, we did singles qualifying on Wednesday. The step ladder waits till Saturday.
Okay, so how did the singles qualifying go on that breakdown? I think we've got the singles, the list there of that qualifying.
It went great. I'll start with the women's. It was really a 3-horse race for first overall with 2 games left. Courtney Lucas and Erica Murphy, who've had a lot of success in our province and nationally, were about 30 pins up on Katie Wells, who's a newcomer to the adult bowling scene, but she represented Newfoundland for about 5 years in the Youth Challenge, and she banged the 680 her last 2 games to qualify first over the other 2 women. It was absolutely unbelievable to watch. Anyone who's a veteran knows her dad, Sean Wells, who's probably one of the best in the history of the country, and she's the exact same way. She's level, she's calm. She threw that 375 in game 9 there, and you wouldn't have known whether she had a 210 or a 420. I was on the lane with her, and it was absolutely unbelievable to watch. So that's how she kind of hooked double life. Which was impressive to see for someone in their first open. And the house we bowled at, the scores for the singles don't dictate it. Holly Lane's an unbelievably tough house right now. Only 2 guys over 260 there. So the scores really surprised us for the singles on both the women's and the men's side.
Yeah, and the men's, wow, looking at Shane Chafe and his qualifying for top 10 games, 303 average. That's huge.
Yeah, it was wild. He kind of got hot from games 5 to 9. I threw a 1575 and lost 80 pins on him.
Wow, you sure did. Yeah.
Which, is just miserable because, Shane certainly let me know that day and the next day. And, I'm probably going to get a text here in about 2 minutes reminding me of it again.
Yeah, he's probably sitting here wondering, why didn't he get invited for the show, right?
Well, there's multiple reasons why he doesn't get invited.
Sorry, Shane.
Yeah, but game 8 there was really interesting in the men's. He shot a 391 and I came out of the shoot on 7. Which was really fun. I ran into a few punches to end the game, so I didn't finish it very well. But it was just a great competition. Again, the scores there were quite high. Again, we were expecting maybe there were some guys thinking under 260 was going to qualify for the step ladder, 255, 256 because of the way the house was. But going into the last game, from spots 4 to 11, there was only a 60 pin gap, and even by the 7th frame, there was probably still about 6 guys with a look at the step ladder, and 4 guys got up in 10 with a chance to put themselves in one of the final 2 spots. Yeah.
Wow, cool. Okay, then let's go with the step ladder results for the singles. Let's finish off the teams there. So top 5 obviously would have made step ladder. You don't have to start from the beginning. We don't have those stats handy to put up there, but maybe quickly.
Oh, good. So the women's, Erin Morty ran from the 5 game to the 2 game, and she actually only got in because Melissa Manor was 5th and chose not to play because she won on the mixed. And then she lost the 2-3 game to Courtney Lucas, and Courtney Lucas and Katie Wells played in the finals. And again, both under 25. We're going to play in the finals 25 times in the next 30 years in Newfoundland. They're just both unbelievable talents, and Katie kind of took it to Courtney early in the game, and she kind of sewed it up in one game. It was not anticlimactic, but Katie came out really hot, and Courtney just couldn't close the gap, so she took it on her. In the men's, Mike Maloney, who's won 2 of the past 3 men's titles, made it to the 2-3 game against me. I was lucky to get by Mikey, and then me and Shane had a bit of a close game. I struck 7 and 8. He got up in 9 and 10, and I probably needed a punch or a chop miss spear, probably to have a look. But he put me to bed with a strike 9, strike 10, strike 11 to kind of close it out. So the step ladders didn't really see any super close games. The people who probably deserved to win last week won. Shane averaging 305. It's hard to see that guy lose in a 1 or 2 game situation when he did all that work on Wednesday. I really love what Alberta does, having the step ladder Wednesday afternoon. I know the person always doesn't keep running hot through the step ladder, but at least it gives them a chance to do that while they're still in that moment.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations to both of those winners. Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's the scheduling difference in Alberta. It makes it a lot easier to get it all done on the Wednesday. It makes the nights on Friday and Saturday even a little bit less. But I see the value in both sides, and I think we've had that conversation many times here on this. What's better, right? But it really comes down to scheduling.
Yeah, and for us, it's a little tricky, just real quick, because we allow mixed bowlers to play in the singles too. And if you did the step ladder Wednesday night and a mixed bowler won it, you'd know they were making a decision about if they were going to stay on a mixed team going to nationals. So right now our logistics doesn't really allow, but I still think it's better in the more fair way to do it for that bowler who was running hot. 4 days is a long time to wait to close that deal.
Nice. And then how about let's go over to the team division. So we've got there was 3 divisions. Obviously, women's division. I'm looking it up, and there's only 2 teams in the women's, and then there was full zones in the men's and full zones in the ladies. So or in the mixed.
So
let's start there with mixed on the screen.
Kerry hopped over to the ladies. Let's stay there. You say only 2 zones, but that's the first time we've had more than one women's team in 8 years. 2014 was the last time we had more than one women's team. Newfoundland bowling went through a bit of a time, and the Holiday women's were pretty much anointed since that point in time. So it was great to have 2 teams. It ended up being a little bit of a lopsided battle, which I think shocked almost everybody. The team that lost got a lot of good young talent. They had 2 strong veteran bowlers. And I think average-wise, the team that won from Plaza Bowl out of Metro 3 probably average-wise had the stronger bowlers, but most of us had it go into game 12 or game 13. But Thursday morning, the Plaza team, Metro 3 there, came out hot 7-8-7. And in it just a straight up, and this is more like your model, but you're playing each other game after game. It's a race to 56, and you've got 22 points put in the bank after 3 games. That's a hill that starts to look pretty insurmountable pretty quickly. But it was just great to see a women's competition occurring again. And I think 9 of the 12 bowlers were under 30. So again, great for our sport to see that young talent out there. Erica Murphy on the team that won is 33 or 34, and she's the veteran on the team.
Now, obviously, you got 2 teams there. Does it get boring playing against each other, or are they like, it is what it is, and they know that's what's?
I got to be honest. You'd have to ask them. It certainly seemed like they have fun. It ended pretty early on day 2, and they stayed competitive. They stayed professional, but they were certainly having laughs. I hope both zones continue to keep having women's teams. They've got the capacity. We've got zones here that have the capacity to have women's teams and choose not to, and that's a pretty heated topic, which I'll leave for right now. So it's just great to see it. I'm sure it gets hard. Melissa Manor often talks about it. Just the momentum swings can be so much, and if you're in the one hole and you're that leadoff bowler, you're playing someone 12, 13 times, and that, you want to build a rivalry. There you go. That's how you go about it. That's
good. And then you got the mixed division there, so that's good. There's lots of teams there. You got
So what we do is we let zones put in more than one mixed team, and I still think it's the right choice. Again, varied opinions, because some teams are less competitive, but everyone was happy to be there. And the Metro 1 team from Holiday Lanes went whatever it was, 15-1 or 16-1. They just kind of. They ran through the competition. The 4 teams that made the step ladder had a bit of a gap. There wasn't a lot of drama the last couple of games of the round robin. So you kind of knew that there was 2-3 teams that were going to be strong. I still think the gap there was a little surprising, but Holiday Lanes was an unbelievably tough house on the second day. There were 60-odd games played, and 30 out of them were sub 1,000. And these are teams that shouldn't be throwing sub 1,000. So the house it got sticky. They had to stop losing a lane. There was some ball return machines, and all that builds, right? A long day, first tournament in 3 years. And you could tell it was impacting the people. So those people with a bit more experience were certainly on those top 3 teams, and they've got that ability to handle that because they're well practiced in it.
Nice. And no step ladder, right? So
there was a step ladder here, and again, the the team that qualified third ended up running up to the top. Actually, the finals was unbelievably close. There were strikes running down for both teams in 10 in some spots. The team that won the Metro 1 team from Holiday got a little bit of a lead in the 2-hole position. Their bowler, they either threw 10 and 11 or they struck out. And then Billy Woods for the team that lost got up and left a corner in 10, and a guy, Brandon Tibbs, who's a young good bowler from our province, got up and threw the strike in the 4-hole, which kind of put it to bed at that point in time. But it was a really, really great match, a lot of momentum swings, a lot of intensity.
Nice. And now they'll get to defend at home.
Yeah.
Nice. Congrats there. And then over to the men's division, and you were successful on the top as well. So are you on the number 1 team qualifier, and then obviously step ladder as well?
So we're the number 1 team that qualified. It was a great week. Game 9 or 10 there, we had a chance to kind of sew up double life early in the day, and we got taken to town 8-0 by the team that qualified second. We came out flat, and they took it to us. And then we got some big shots from some guys on our team the rest of the afternoon. We had 3 games make it into the 10th tight. A guy, Mike Howlett, who was on a national silver medal mixed team, threw a couple shots for us. A guy, Ray Dunphy, who's been away a few times, threw some shots. And I was lucky enough to throw a shot to close out a game. So we finished 6 points up, but it was quite a close afternoon. And again, that zone that qualified second, Metro 3, hasn't really had a men's team that's been competitive and made the step ladder in 20 years, almost. So it was really just good to see. And then the step ladder on Saturdays, a really young team from Paradise Lanes, bowling out of Metro 4, beat St. Pat's, who's got some veterans, Dave Hand Jr., Stephen Brown, some guys on the team. Then the Plaza team, who's do have some guys that Scott Thurston was on a gold medal team from 2014. Mitchell Williams been away to a lot of Masters. He's played singles. He's played teams. They got by them. They took double life on us in the first game. And then about the 7th frame of the second game, I thought they had us. They had a couple of doublers on the board, and they had a strike on the board, and I thought they were going to take us to the cleaners. They threw a couple of really good shots and left a couple corners. And Mike Maloney in the 4-hole with the veteran leadership threw a 4-bagger to kind of save the day for us and kind of sneak us through. Both teams incredibly tight throughout the game. Scores weren't great, but that time away from competition was very, very evident. That ability to calm yourself, that ability to stay in the moment. There was lots of pacing from guys, lots of nervous shots. You could just feel the energy, but it was just great to be at it again.
So my big question for you: how did it feel doing this for Bobby O? I know it was a big thing for you guys, right?
It was an incredible week. Me and Melissa Manor and Julie Hughes had a chat going all week, and it was just really nice. Our zones had a lot of success. That's 10 of 16 men's wins for us. No other zone has 2, and that's more than 2 in that 16-year period. Though we wanted to win. It was a holiday. It was in his lanes. And it was just really, really great to do it. There's an added poetic thing. The Nationals are here again, and of course, Tim, as you know, that's where we managed to win the gold for him. So it was special. He got inducted to the Hall of Fame at the awards banquet on Saturday night. So it was an emotional week, for us. And guys aren't always the most emotional, but the guys on our team who played with Bob, we had our moments. We were open about it. It was just really great. And it was better just to see everyone in the lanes again. It was so good to be there. And you were talking about the streaming and stuff. I'd come home from bowling and watch more bowling and just watch people get strikes at Bannockdoon all day long. I was like, I really don't want to play this Edmonton team in Bannockdoon. I don't know if I want to go to the Masters in Alberta right now. So that was the best part of it all, was just getting to enjoy being back at it, as I'm sure ye all felt. And the streaming, the professionalization of it that you guys and Kerry have kind of spearheaded, and other provinces are picking up. You should really be doing courses with people about how to do this well and about what it needs to look like, because it's the way to grow the sport and people watch.
Yeah, they sure do. Let's bring in Craig Ford there. Brad, stick with us. So let's bring in Craig. I know you're also from Newfoundland. Welcome to the show, Craig. Obviously, the chairperson for the C5 Nationals that are coming up. Obviously, for you, watching Provincials happening and now all these stats coming in must be exciting. The people are looking forward to coming there for Nationals coming up. Oh, you're just on mute. Let's unmute you there.
Well, what's today? Wednesday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I lost track of the days because I've just been provincials floated right into national prep. So I haven't even had a chance to like finalize the stats yet. It's just been so crazy with stuff going on, but it's been 3 years in the making. We booked our hotel originally for 2021 and 2018. So we're 4 years into the planning session now. We're ready.
Well, that's exciting. I think everybody across the country too. They've looked at the dates and say when is the trip to Newfoundland happening? So they've been counting down the years and the months and the days too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've had multiple conversations with Brad just about getting back to the lanes and having friendship and everything. Just it's like I've picked up where we left off.
Nice. It's exciting. Now, obviously, at nationals, we'll play. Everybody plays all the houses because you can't have it all in one place, right? So you have to play.
We're actually able to use it all in one center this year. Plaza Bowl is a 36 lane house synthetic.
Oh, okay, so everything's happening at Plaza. Just schedule works out great. Nice.
Yep.
Easy from an organization and a transportation standpoint, doesn't it?
It makes it a lot easier because last time we had it in 2013, I believe Paradise Bowl was open for less than a year. We had every center basically in the metro area going. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Holiday. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Any other key star moments that you guys want to mention from your Newfoundland provincials here this last weekend? We don't want to make sure we miss and skip over anything that you need to mention.
There was a lot of great bowling. There was 3 400s within the first 6 games of the singles. Mike Maloney had a 408. Mitch Pope had a 408. Stephen Brown had a 416. Like Brad said, we didn't expect Holiday to score that well. It kind of held true to the typical scoring on the second day, but and third day for that matter. But no, it was great to just get everybody back on the lanes and kind of give that sense of normalcy again, even if there was some mask wearing and stuff going on. Kind of just to have it there is the main thing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Got it done. And how about for you, Brad? Anything else we want to make sure we mention?
No, I'm again thrilled with the young talent in our sport. I remember 2012 I played and I was 28, and there was 2 guys younger than me in the whole event. And I looked across our bowling alley last week and there was 500. So that was the highlight of the week for me, is feeling like the sport was in good hands. I'm coming up. And I don't know more.
I do maybe Craig can touch base before we head out about some highlights of what we can expect for Open Nationals. Like, what's the slogan? What's going to be on the provincial night or anything like that?
Yeah, so big shout out to Sarah Kennedy from Corner Brook, Newfoundland, but she's playing out of Ontario. She actually qualified with the Niagara Peninsula region. She designed our logo, so it's having a time. That's our it's kind of an homage to a Donnie Dumphy video. If you want to look it up, you probably won't understand it, but it's there. Our theme is for the provincial night is Newfoundland cabin party screeching, so you can't come to Newfoundland without a screeching.
Fun. Well, it's going to be a great time. So good on you guys. Congrats. Got your tournament done under the way. Congrats to you, Brad. And obviously, Craig, best of luck in running a massive, successful nationals. I know it'll be great.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right.
Thanks again, guys.
Thanks for having me.
Talk to you later. All right. Should we just jump straight into Southern Ontario? They're all waiting patiently.
They are. Yeah, let's do it. Thanks to Newfoundland. Go for it, Kerry.
Perfect. All right. Well, we might as well bring in a singles champion first. So, ladies champion, Jen Young, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hey, Jen.
And then from the men's team champion, we have John Cowan. And mixed team champion, right? Mitch Davies?
Mixed
team. Mixed team, baby.
Yeah.
Awesome. Obviously, let's start with Jen. Huge accomplishment. Jeff is your biggest fan. He's all over social media, posting everything about you. He's such a such a huge supporter. How does it feel?
Yeah, he's giving me the guns right
now. How about we share single step or single qualifying here?
So you guys do the same thing, right? Wednesday is the singles qualifying,
Yes.
and then step ladder at the end of Saturday as well.
Yeah, we do 5 games Wednesday, 5 games Thursday, and then step ladder on Saturday.
Oh, okay. 5 games Wednesday, 5 games Thursday. That's a different one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it looks like your first 5 on Wednesday would have been, clear leader with a couple of threes in there.
Yeah.
So run that
And
down
then
there,
Thursday.
guys, or Mitch, or anybody, if you want to jump in. You know some of these names and recognizing some of these names of how do you think that would have gone. Obviously, Connie Ward, a past champion and graded the game, ended up being first overall qualifier.
Yeah, so I'll help you out here, Jen, a little bit.
Thanks. Thank you.
So they had the singles on Wednesday night. I believe it started at 5:30. They had the walk-in around 4:30 for the champions of their zones. I don't know, Jen, did you win your zone? I'm sorry.
No. It was Sarah Pellin.
It was Sarah Pellin. Okay, so the champion of each zone will do a walk-in, and they'll present all the singles, the senior singles, the men's, the lady singles, and they'll walk them all in. At 5:30, they'll start bowling, and they bowled at Maryville the first 5 games. Now, Maryville a couple years ago was really good scoring. It looks like they've maybe neglected a little bit of black bases, so they're like really rounded down now. It wasn't as good scoring. You couldn't see the split spares and stuff like that. So Jen played extremely well. She was in first, obviously, after the first 5 games. We went and watched a little bit. I was watching a little bit of Jen's ball. It was really working. But for the guys, when the guys were up there, they really weren't scoring all that much. I think the top guy, there wasn't even a 1400.
Maryville burned me Wednesday night.
Yeah. So when I was watching Jen play, her like that medium speed ball was carrying a lot more too. Matt Montgomery just played really solid. I've only met him maybe like a couple times. Nathan saved his day, obviously, and then Cody was just okay. Like I'm pretty sure the cut after the first day was like 1280 or so. It wasn't really much.
Looks like a couple of 397 there for Matt, but then also Nathan finished both days strong, 350, 399 there.
Yeah, but those were the 353 was at Maryville, but the other ones were at Orleans.
Okay.
And so Orleans was actually really good scoring. In my opinion, it's good scoring. Other guys didn't say so, but so all you can see the scores in the back half there from 6 to 10 were really good. Jen obviously had a good consistent day there. The second day, just enough to hold her off. I know Haley was right behind her, who's a rookie from York Simcoe. Not too familiar with her, but she stayed right with Jen, and Jen was able to just stay consistent in the last 2 games and stay ahead. And I believe Connie threw a double 8-9 and then like a corner spare or something like that to just edge out Jen. We just made it over because we weren't bowling with them, right? We on Thursday we're bowling mixed in a different center than the men's and ladies were, so we were about 45 minutes away via traffic.
Do you remember that finish there? Obviously 3 points there at the end. Do you remember how that went down?
Yeah, so no, I was bowling. I didn't see any of it. I'm glad Mitch saw it because I'm clueless. Absolutely clueless to it all. Okay.
Yeah, you obviously lost by 3 points. I just didn't know if there was if you and Connie knew what was needed and what it was down to the end and the point scenario on,
I didn't. She might have, but I didn't. Yeah.
Connie would have known.
Yeah. I'm sure
Connie would have known. Yeah, Connie would have known. But it was definitely a good battle to watch down the stretch at Orleans, especially with it being a pretty good scoring. So you could just see when they were put on the side, they'd probably score.
Right. And then talk to us about the step ladder, if we can get step ladder results of how those, because you would have, Jen, had to do a double win in the end, but would have had to play the 2-3 match first.
Yeah. The first match, it wasn't too rattled too much. It was the second match. I mean, that's a mountain to climb, right? So it was a lot of fun, though. I find this more nerve-wracking than bowling. I'm going to do the step ladder again.
So Haley would have been 3-4. Then she came up. You had the 249 to 194, so that wouldn't have been too bad. But then your first match, obviously, a 317 to 267. So again, you must have had a good, solid outing there. And then in the last one, 210 to 199. So that would have been some pressure, grinding shots, I'm sure, at the end of that step ladder. What that looked like.
Yeah. We don't want to talk about the second game. It was a little rough. The first one, I mean, you have to come out firing against Connie, right? So just get yourself into the game and just try and stay ahead of her. That was all I tried to do. So.
That's a quick question, Jen. Did you feel better about the 317 or the 210 to beat Connie? Right, like the grind it
definitely
out to
the
win?
317.
Yeah.
The 210. I mean, I gave it to her. She just didn't quite finish. I mean, I thank her. I don't know the right way to say that, but it was it was not a very good finish for either of us. It was not a good finish. So definitely felt better about the 317.
And then over on the men's side, looks like, I mean, obviously Matt Montgomery, 371 to 178 in the final, guys. What happened there, John?
I'll be honest, I didn't get a chance to watch it. I was still kind of celebrating, getting all the thanks for the congratulations for what we did in the team's final, which I'm sure we're going to talk about in a little bit. So it all kind of just was a blur. I lost half of our team. I mean, Ian and Coop had to go play their singles, and then about 45 minutes later, Cooper came back and said that he couldn't get the job done, and that was just kind of it.
And let's keep celebrating. Wow. Congrats to Matt. Obviously, Matt must have done something pretty big in that last game to.
Well, he hit the side 12 straight times. So
the one thing I will say, like he kind of did it quietly. I mean, like you didn't really hear any big hoorah from him. He did have a bit of a support the second five, but it just didn't see it coming. Playing alongside the whole time. It was kind of like well, that's new.
Let's go to a different division. So, John, let's go to the men's division first on this one. You can run through the round robin a bit, what that will look like, and then go into step ladder for us.
Yeah, I mean, round robin. I mean, it may not look like it per se, but we definitely got lucky to be in the position we were in. Day one, we were not great. We were just good enough. So, if the other team was throwing 11-20, we would have 11-30. But we got kind of lucky that things kind of fell in our favor. Thankfully, Cooper and Ian playing 4-5 pretty much steady the whole way through. We're lights out day one. So when we needed a shot, we had two guys who were on the button. Day two is a little bit different. A lot of the heat came from up top. I know I personally found it. Don't know where I found it, but it wasn't there for singles at Maryville, but teams was a whole different story. So it just kind of seemed like kind of the whole way through, whenever we needed a shot, someone was there to get the ball rolling.
Nice. Any key moments, or you guys remember any big games in there that are worth mentioning, or any, obviously it's you, Matt Montgomery's again, 357 the last game of round robin, but anything that you remember in the men's qualifying side? Some big threes in there, looks like.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of scattered all along. Like Mitch said, when we were playing Maryville a few years back, when everything was at Maryville, if you thought about the middle, it was a strike. And this time it was a little bit rougher. So it seems like a bit more consistent. High scoring was the first day at Orleans. Obviously, just panning over the Hamilton team there, you see Dave Bentley and Cody were kind of lighting it up. We're at Orleans.
279, yeah.
Right. Like, I think going in when we were done our first five, the two of them were averaging close to 300 each.
How'd our buddy Jimmy Head there? I see Jim Head just ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
250. Yeah.
Going in, you look at the names and you see all these guys who've got such impressive resumes. You kind of expected it to be, you got to be at your best to beat them. So like I said, we got kind of lucky early on. We didn't have to be at our best. But we're just good enough.
And then, the Torville brothers there. I remember, obviously, we talked about the competition that you were going to be having, and there was a lot of good teams that would have been there. So,
yeah,
and there's you guys there to win. So you've got a 270 average there finishing.
Yeah, it was not a pretty 270. I mean, after day one, I think I looked at it and it was like 223, which was just like mind blowing playing Maryville. couldn't score, or started playing Orleans and couldn't score because just a couple weeks before it, our master set there, same thing. It was just lights out. Just anything even close to a good shot was scoring. But day 2 really saved that number.
If you go look at the Huronia team there, they were way better on paper than they performed. That team absolutely underperformed. They had Mike Torville, Bobby Torville, Andrew Wilkie, Taylor Hanley, and who was the other one? Was it Andrew Wilkie? I guess, or did I say that? Yeah, Andrew Wilkie. Oh, Dougie and Dougie. Like that team was absolutely unreal, and they just had a bad fate, man. I had them as like the number 3 ranked team behind Central and Hamilton, and they just didn't perform. And then Durham obviously had just like a stellar lineup all the way down.
Yeah, I think that was the kind of conversation that we had in our team chat. You know, we may not have been the most high profile, talented team there, but as far as depth goes, we were just as strong as anybody out there. Since you mentioned the Huronia team, I know when we played them, they just couldn't get it going. You know, Mikey was lights out when he played them. I got the privilege to sit and watch it all go down because I got pulled pretty early. But it just kind of seemed like they'd get on the left lane, and there was 5 marks to get on the right lane, and it was 5 unsparable shots. And again, it was day 1 at Orleans, and our bottom 2 guys were firing when we needed them to.
Hey, Johnny, tell them about the step ladder. They're gonna ask you. They're gonna pull it up right here, but tell them about the step ladder and how it went down in the finish.
It wasn't pretty, but game 1 we weren't great. Thankfully we got our safety net there where we had to be beaten twice. Game 2, not just saying this as somebody who came out on top, but just as someone who appreciates bowling for what it is. I don't think it could have gone down any better. Where it came down to 10th frame, and Julian Nadeau, he had the nail in the coffin in his hand. We were pretty much dead even in totals. He had a double working. Our 5-player Ian did not. He was working on nothing. But we're the home team. He lets Julian go up first, and he opens up with a head pin, giving him room to make a move with a strike, and that pretty much sealed it.
And honestly, guys, in that last frame, Julian's on a double, and Ian was going to go first. I was watching from the bar, and Steve pulls him back, the coach. Steve pulls him back and says, no, let him go first. Because it was all on his shoulders, and he said if he throws a strike, it's over. If he throws a corner, it's over. If he does anything, it's over. And Steve let him go first. Julian just rushed up there and picked, and then gave Ian a chance. Ian still had to throw a mark too. It wasn't even like it was like if Ian goes 5-5-5, they still lose. So Ian had to throw a strike, the first ball there, or a corner, whatever, like a spare. But he did it. I think he fought some personal demons there himself. Because if you guys look at that video of Eric Milne every year around this time. Okay. Johnny himself is in that video as well.
In that video too, yeah.
And so was Ian. Ian leaves up a bomb corner and gets roasted, and then gives Eric that chance to go win for his team to go nationals. So it was fighting some personal demons, I think, for both of them there.
So do you think that's the experience of the coach and Steve Barker making that play happen?
I honestly do. When I was watching from afar and I saw him do it, I was like, that's a veteran move.
Yeah.
Attaboy, Barker.
Yeah, I will say the one thing, typically every year that I've played, kind of have that one like head scratcher moment of why do you do this? Why do you do that? And it's the first year that we haven't had it, where it just kind of, Barker did what Barker wanted to do, and it generally seemed to work out.
There you go. Veteran coach too. Good job. How about to the next division there, Carrie, as we keep moving along here? We're on to ladies there. So I don't even know who. I know Niagara won, but who was on that team? What's the names on there? Mitch, do you obviously know the names?
Buddy, I don't.
Sarah Kennedy.
Yeah. No, I know 3 of them. And I played this zone twice, for league. Sarah Kennedy, I know. Obviously, you guys all know her too. Sarah Stevens is a young girl, but she's actually pretty good. She's like a 245, 250 player from Niagara. Plays at Playmore. And then Vicky Robbins she plays teaching a lot. I've never really played with her, obviously. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know Laura, and I don't know Kayla, and Lindsay Richardson's a young girl.
So fair to say that they necessarily weren't expected to win. Like, is that fair? Yeah.
Well, let's call a spade here. The Hamilton ladies team should have won hands down.
Okay.
No questions asked. They should have destroyed absolutely everyone, and they sucked. They did.
You look at their pinfall. They're the highest pinfall out of all the teams, right?
I know. You could say pinfall all you want, but that team is way better than even that. Not even close to that. Like it's unbelievable how much talent's on that team, and they just didn't play well. They should have motoed over everyone. If you could like put odds on it, it probably would have been like minus 500. That's how good that team is, right? And Jen, at least we can say that.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, definitely.
And if you look at their first day, they were just not good. They just didn't come together, I guess. They gave themselves a little bit of a run. They needed a 7 the last game to put themselves in. And then once they got in, who knew what could happen? But they took a 5, and it was no good. That Central team has 4 or 5 good players on it, actually. It was like Charlotte, Melissa Llewellyn, Aaron Powers from Newfoundland. So it was actually funny because Niagara was playing against Central in the finals, but they both had an ex-Newfoundlander on the team. And then the coaches, of course, put them against each other in the final 2 game and said, one of you guys is going home.
Wow.
That's what happened.
I think he did that to them in the qualifying part too. I'm pretty sure they bowled each other.
Oh, did they? Yeah. That's yeah. And actually came down to Melissa with a shot. She needed a strike. She pitched out. It was over. But both teams, I think, in the step ladder for the women's, I think each team had like $160 and $180 in there somewhere. So it really wasn't on their shoulders. It just happened that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there was a bunch of teams that were kind of like around the same skill level, and then there was Hamilton. Like there was probably 5 or 6 teams. Like Jen's team was right in that as well. With Grand River, they had like 3 or 4 strong bowlers. A lot of teams had 3 to 4 strong bowlers. They just didn't have the 6-team talent that like Hamilton did. So they should have.
Hamilton didn't even make it to the step ladder.
No, they didn't. No, they did not.
and they're definitely going to hear it now.
Well,
That was the only game that our team actually stood up and bowled that game. I think that was the only game we really got together and threw.
Yeah, I feel like that happens with a lot of teams, right? Though.
Yeah. You step up to play against the big teams, the teams that you that you don't not necessarily want to spoil, but you know you're going to have to play good because they're the team to beat, right? So it just always seems to be a driving force in some of those matches, right?
It's like the Central men's team, right, Terry?
Apparently.
All right, let's flip over to the mixed side.
All righty.
We'll get into Mitch's, mixed team win. Hey, add that one to the list.
Hey, there you go. Yeah, I don't even know where to start with this. As a lot of people did predict our team to win, and you know what? There was a lot of variables that I thought going into this weekend that you had no idea about. Martin and Franny are a little older now. They're not maybe the players that they once were, but they can be that on any given day, right? We had two rookies. One, like, they practiced a lot. They did, like, absolutely. And then, like, Melissa throws a really slow ball. We didn't know how her ball was going to react. We play at Mountain, and it's the same effect as Bonnie Doon, where get the deflection all the time, right? You can't throw a bunch of strikes. So she only averages, like, say, 215, but man, she probably hits 80%. It's unbelievable. And so we got into a center where her ball was carrying both those centers, and it was good to see. And then Cassie came alive the last 2 weeks or so for league. She shot back-to-back 850s before we were about to leave, and man, her ball was dynamite as well. So right off the hop, we struggled a little bit. The first game, I had a 380 though or something. And I think that was able to like kind of calm them down a little bit, just give them like a little bit of structure. And then I really was not that great the rest of the way home. I was maybe 240 something, nothing special.
Looks like
But-
your Martin's in there, but he had a huge last 3 games, which is nice. I mean, like when you need the veteran to show up and you need to close the deal, he was there for you. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. We came together as a team, and like I said to you guys off air, it came down to the last 2 games. We had gone 9-1 at that point, and going into the game against Central, and we were actually losing. We weren't in first, so Central was beating the crap out of teams, and we weren't. So it came down to that game against Central, basically, because our next game was against Bay Quinte, and Bay Quinte's not a really strong zone. So we were able to know, like, hey, if we win this game, we're going to be able to go to step ladder or go in the first place qualifier. And that's how it went down. And then our girls, like I said, our girls really carried us, I believe.
So then step ladder comes down to it.
Yeah, I mean, Niagara was the team that beat us early on in the actual tournament. So we were going up against them, and they actually started off fairly well. Their 4-spot bowler, their Duran, started off on a 4-bagger. And we were down probably about 100 after 5. And then I think we were up going in the 10th frame. We go double, double, double. So, I mean, it was great showing by our women and Franny. Like they were great. Yeah.
Nice. And any other key moments from all 3 of you, just to wrap up Ontario, that you saw or that was super special? I mean, obviously being back and playing again, or just something that we don't want to miss if we worthwhile saying.
I mean, one key moment in the men's final, I think it was frame 7 or 8. Mark Gunneau put an absolutely beauty shot in the right pocket, and he got tapped on the left corner, but it was tapped to the point where it was leaning on a pin that was sitting in the gutter. Where if this was last year, it's a strike, and this year it is not. So it was really, it was a huge momentum swing. I think right after that we came out and had 4 or 5 strikes in a row, and you could see they were kind of just on their heels, which obviously is huge in a game that was decided by I think 14.
Okay, I truly believe that was down because those bases are absolutely so rounded right now. It's ridiculous. They were off the base. It wasn't even on the base anymore. I didn't say anything, obviously, because it's not my match. But like, it was. I think it was down.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interpretation call still, but
you got substandard equipment behind the lanes there. That's the issue.
I will say it's the only time all year I've seen where you can actually.
That would never happen in Elmira. That would never happen there.
It's the only time all year that I've seen where you can actually be like, was the string holding it up?
But still not on the list, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say it was a lot different.
Picture of it. Oh, Randy Main says he's seen a picture of it. We need picture proof. Let's see. Yeah.
I'll say it was a lot different playing the mixed division than it was the men's division. A lot more friendly. Everybody's all happy and having a good time. And only one guy made me go throw in front of a pick. That's it. Only one guy. Everyone else is like, no, I'll go finish. It's okay. You take your time.
It is totally different.
It is. It's really different, man. But it was a good experience. I really had fun.
Mitch Davies, a mixed team lifer now.
That's it.
Yeah, you're gonna drop down, are you, in the qualifying? Yeah. If you're 4th, 5th, or 6th and don't have a shot at singles, you're dropping to mix. Is that the plan?
Well, I hope we can just make our own teams.
Right.
Pro league.
I think that's a good spot to wrap up the South Ontario hot take there.
Okay. You guys have
Awesome,
a good day.
Hey, have a great time in Newfoundland. Jen, congrats again on a singles title. That's amazing.
Thank you.
John, Mitch, have fun on the teams, guys. It'll be a blast.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
All right.
Thanks for joining.
Check you
Take
later.
care, guys.
Yeah, bye.
All right.
What's a podcast without getting Mitch Davies all fired up, hey?
Yeah, that's right. Good old South Zone. They, as I was scrolling through each team, like, holy, that's a tough one to cover. I don't know how they do it all the time.
Teams there, right? And would have been big provincials of playing it, and obviously formats and changes, and we see it on the Facebook of all the things going on. But that's a lot of people to play and have to run a tournament.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's bring in our North Ontario reps that we got coming in here. We have a singles and 2 men's team champions. We have All right, we'll bring in the men's single first, Mr. Greg DeGrazia. And Taylor Michelle, his teammate, going to Newfoundland. Welcome to the show, guys.
What's up, fellas? How's it going?
Good.
I'm not sure
Yeah.
how many people wanted Taylor Michelle back on a podcast with all the profanity going on, but
All of them.
We're happy to
All
bring
of them, Carrie. Don't lie. It was all of
Oh,
them.
yeah.
I can imagine. I can only imagine what Taylor Michelle is like on a team environment in the pit, keeping everybody loose and light. And what's happening? What's the game plan for you, Taylor? Just freestyle?
Just sweet nothings in everyone's ear until we're finished.
I've seen it several times. Taylor's going off the rails and Greg's giving him the stare the whole fucking time, right?
Yeah. Every once in a while, every once in a while, I turn around and Greg's looking at me like, "You better calm your shit down." And no, that's just Greg. We just leave Greg to do Greg things, and then I stick with the rest.
You kind of even each other out, though, don't you? Like Greg's pretty calm, where I imagine Taylor's pretty. high.
I am not the crazy guy on the team. You just wait. We got Wes and we got Matt Shinosky. Those dudes get cocaine eyes and look out.
No, Wes is the least one that would ever be that way.
And his arms turn into Indiana Jones whips when he gets the cocaine eyes, when he throws that double or triple, and you got to like put your back foot, get ready, brace, because he's coming in hot.
Yeah, there was a time in North Bay we were bowling Provincial, and I think he came off a turkey there, and I'm standing there first one on the lanes, and he comes to give me double high five, misses my hand, smokes me right in the nose, got blood everywhere. But yeah, I pull myself.
Yep.
Clean,
Greg
clean blood.
Greg doesn't stand up front.
I
Only
bet,
in Northern Ontario.
I bet Greg took that really well too.
Oh yeah. Real well. I think my mom. I kind of gave her some sassy response. Her, my grandma took off from the bowling alley. So.
Well, let's start with you guys for singles as well. If we got the stats there,
We want to do men's singles first.
Sure, whichever one you pull up.
Yeah.
Obviously, congratulations goes to Greg.
So I have to make a point here. I think last time you guys, it was Newfoundland. You guys ended up playing with 5 because Greg had to choose between team or singles. So, Greg, a little bit of redemption coming on here now. You can play both.
Yeah, there's a few teammates on that team from that year, and they're a little happier that I make a decision.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's qualifying, guys. It came down to 5 pins, and obviously, I'm assuming you knew that going into the step ladder of how that happened. And so, Taylor, you would have been ahead at the end there.
Yeah,
going both you guys neck and neck. I mean, 284 averages for both of you, just firing away. Was there a little bit of fist pump or a little bit of oh shit? You know,
I've been in singles a handful of times, and I think this is the first time I've even gotten any aggregate points. Because this, my singles bowling is abysmal. And in the last 3 or 4 years, I've been working on that, going to the cash tournaments and finding that mental game. Because my singles bowling mental game was 0. If I threw a shitty ball, I'm like, it's just you. Who cares? It's only yourself. Whereas now doing those cash tournaments, finding that, tenacity for individual bowling. So going out and even qualifying for step ladder was a big triumph over the previous years.
Right. Nice. Okay. So then, ladies qualifying there.
Yeah, just give me a second here. I'll look for that one.
Because step ladder, what's your format you guys do? Do you do the step ladder for singles on the Saturday, or do you finish it all on Wednesday night?
It's on the Saturday after team.
It is, okay.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry, Carrie, let's do the step ladder there for the men's first. If you got this on the screen. No, you're good, bud.
You had the ladies up.
Yeah, so there's the ladies. So that's the qualifying as well. Looks like nice and close to the end, too, there, only by a handful of pins. And looks like Amanda had a tough finish to not secure first spot.
Yeah, she was running through for the most part. I felt like she had a relatively consistent go, but in the early games, she had a couple duty ones there, which everybody would throw their one high game and it would shoot that person up, and then they kind of sort of filter back down. Somebody else would shoot a high one, shoot them back up. But like 40 sticks between 1 and 3 was like they were back and forth.
I see a couple pro leaguers in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Looks
Katie Bonney is that. Sorry, I'm not familiar with Thunder Bay, but Is Katie Bonnie Alyssa's sister?
Yeah, Alyssa's older sister.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe she's won an Open Nationals, hasn't she? Singles.
Yeah, in 2015, Katie and I both won the same year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Correct.
We're hoping to repeat.
Give away the step ladder. Give away the step ladder.
Looks like there was tough scoring there.
It was an interesting house. It was equally painful for all ball types. Unless you threw like a 17 mile an hour with a shit ton of hook or backup on it, you were ripping some chops in spots where you figured you had a sweet strike ball and then it would come out a chop. And it seemed pretty consistent. Like I myself am a hard thrower. There was some, I guess our whole men's team is, Greg's probably the slowest guy in terms of ball speed, but looking across for everybody else with the varying speeds, it was chop city.
Wow. Look at that first game. So obviously, Greg, you got the double knockout and needed it too. So Taylor, you threw a massive 352, and then obviously Greg took off. Or what happened in that last match? Did you punch?
So the first one, I think I started the first match against Greg. I think I started head pin, and I went head pin the second frame, and I was like, oh, here we go. But I spared the head pin in the second frame.
Wow.
And then threw, I don't know, 6 or 7 in a row. But after about 5, I think it was done. So I was just kind of trying to freewheel, loosen up, keep it loose for next game, and then just could not throw strikes. I was like, well, there we go. There's 3 in the hole that I didn't need. And then the second match, Greg definitely got going, but I think I threw 7 plows in the second match. So I had a few strikes and then just all over the face.
Sounds just like Alberta.
After that first match, like I whacked the other frame. Like I started with strike, one head pin, strike, head pin, and I think Taylor started with 3 whacks. Like you said, spared a head pin 7, and then ran a 7 bagger where I again plowed. I think 3 times. Everything else was done, but at that point the game was over. Luckily, we had about like 10-15 minutes to
holy shit
group because the ladies took a lot longer than us, obviously. And I think that 10 minutes just kind of was able to calm down and back on my shot there.
Right, because you guys are a little bit of a speedy bowler, so the ladies' match was still taking time.
Yeah, that second game I definitely started throwing a lot more aggressive shots. So
yeah,
and I was even saying to Taylor, like that 5 pins was huge. Whoever came first was probably going to win because 2 games, me and him probably are at least going 50-50.
That's what I figured. Even if had the 5 pin been the other way, I feel like those 2 matches scores probably would have been close-ish.
That's interesting, guys, because in Alberta, we had the ladies finish the stepladder first, and then once they were done, then the men's stepladder, rather than running them simultaneously.
Right.
The final match.
Yeah, just the final match. But this is what happened.
1-2, yeah.
Both the ladies and the men's final was happening. Had to wait to go to the second game until the ladies were done there first. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, good there. And then let's move to the teams. Anyone you want to pick, Carrie's fine. Teams, is there a step ladder as well, or is it just a round robin?
Yeah, teams the same thing. 4-3 winner 2 winner 1 twice.
Yeah.
Why am I drawing a blank here?
On a round qualifying, open
team qualifying. There we go. Open final team qualifying. It's all on one spreadsheet, I'm guessing.
I'll play your game, Gary.
Here we go.
Okay, so mixed team didn't play as many games. Obviously, men's and ladies played the full 20.
Yeah,
there's only 95 Thunder Bay, 98 Thunder Bay. Anything significant there for the qualifying side of things?
Our mix went right down to the last game. They ended up playing Cambry in their final match, and I think what do they have? 3 point and a half lead.
Thunder Bay would have been ahead.
Yeah, so they needed to win total in that match, and I believe their last game came down to pretty tight, and they ended up taking 2 spot, and then had to go. Well, I guess we'll get to the step ladder after. But so that was a big one for them where it was tight, and I think the men's and ladies were pretty much wrapped leading into the last couple.
Sorry, guys. Can you maybe quickly let us know what part of the zone each one of them are. Obviously, I think Thunder Bay is obviously Thunder Bay. Nickel District is Sudbury, right?
Nickel and Cambrian are the weird Sudbury split.
So
Okay.
yeah, Nickel districts I would say is the western side of Sudbury, along with like all the little towns west of Sudbury. Then Cambrian is the east side of Sudbury, and again all the towns east of Sudbury. Gateway is the big city, North Bay, and then the surrounding towns. I couldn't tell you all of them. Gold Belt, again, the big city being Timmins, and then a couple surrounding areas. Thunder Bay is obviously just Thunder Bay, and then Sunsets, Dryden, Kenora, all that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say you guys lost your last game. Didn't need it
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, our last game was we were done. Greg sat. The rest of us unclenched our butt cheeks, and then it was just casual, and then we got fucking stomped.
And then there's step ladders, obviously, for teams then too.
Yeah.
I guess that, question for everybody out there. You're seeing a lot of provinces that do the step ladder for teams. Alberta does not. Do you like the way Alberta does it, or do you like the way that your own province does it? Let's get some comments. What do you prefer? Carrie, what do you think? Carrie would like to see a step ladder in Alberta.
I'm torn. I actually asked Herbert and Kaylin Ayub, who was there, and they said they prefer our format just because you play each other so many times.
They're on winning teams though. That's weird.
Yeah, that's fine.
Weird.
So wait, a losing team doesn't want a step ladder. Okay, I see how that works too. So,
but Tim, that's literally the question you asked. You asked the winners if they'd like a step ladder.
No,
of course they wouldn't.
I asked the Ontario people. I asked them who first time playing the event. There's a difference.
Who happened to win?
No,
So our gateway zone this year was 100% rookies. So, and I talked to a few of them, and they very much enjoyed the step ladder. So there's a not winning team. Personally, I'm 50-50. I'd rather not have a step ladder because generally speaking, you bowl enough people enough times, the better team is going to win. However, for streaming, televising, getting viewers to a new sport, step ladders is exactly the kind of shit they want to watch. They don't care about the mundane, everybody's touching everybody for 50 games. They want to see, okay, here's the best people. What are they going to do when the cameras are on them, kind of thing.
Yeah, I was told that we never used to have a step ladder in Northern Ontario, but we got it so we could televise it, and then people liked it, and we stuck with it. I personally, again, kind of with Taylor, like 50-50. Playing, like in Alberta, you guys bowl 25 games. That's a grind. The top team should win. Why should you have to bowl good for one or two more games? You want to send the best team to. So, yeah, I'm torn with that.
No, I totally agree with that. Like, because it's such a long format, it does make the most sense that it should be over after the long format. But prime example, Taylor, like you're saying, if we're trying to sell the sport, we're live streaming, we're trying to get people viewership. A stepladder sells it, right? Like, hey, these are the best teams all week. This is the matches you're going to see, because you can't live stream every single match on every set. So you're going to be missing out on watching the best teams a lot of the time. And Daryl and those guys did a really good job the last day in Alberta to try and showcase the best teams. But you're not always going to catch the matches that matter, or right, like you're going to miss out on a lot of that. So from the live streaming, from the entertainment side of it, I think a stepladder makes a lot of sense. But as a person that's been on the good side of the long format, there's pros and cons to both. And I think it's where we want to grow the sport from here. Is it all about appeasing the best players, that the long format, there doesn't need to be a stepladder? Or do we try and grow the sport and introduce that? I don't know.
It'd be certainly fun to commentate the step ladder, right, and have it all going, and there's a lot more excitement. You could go back on the week.
Are we losing Daryl? Oh,
I understand.
He's back. I agree with Daryl. You can pull the stats from the whole week and use those numbers
Yeah.
and things that happened in the stepladder. So and so did X in this game, and you can bring those highlights up and sell the sport.
So let's go over the stepladder here for the different events. Anything significant there? Men's, ladies, mixed. We've got all three on the page.
Mix started 2, so they had to bowl 3 games. They fired hot in the first 2. The final match against Cambrian, I believe, came down to 10th frame, 4th bowler, pretty much. Neil was on I think he was on a double, and he threw the first one in 10 to kind of give them that little bit of spread. And then it kind of just took the air to the tires on Cambrian because it got it real tight. And then I don't know that he threw another one, but I think he threw a half decent count. So it kind of came down to that 1 bowler 4 spot. And the ladies as well came down to the 3 or 4 or 5 bowlers, 10th frame. Again, for the ladies, it was a little different because it was their first match. So had it gone the other way, they had that safety net of a game. But it was, again, I think Sam Sitar, our Pro League bowler, went and she threw she had a double going into 10 and threw 2 and 10 and just put the icing on the cake. Not to overshadow anybody else who may have bowled a really good game that game. Those are just the frames that I saw coming down to the end. So there might have been other great games in there, but those were like the linchpin shots. I'll let Greg go over ours because ours was just a cheek squeezer the whole way.
Yeah. So we were playing Gold Belt, which is Simmons. Alberta was on the team and a few others. We started hot. We started with a bunch of marks. They struggled a little bit, but then we struggled frame 3, 4, 5. They started throwing some marks. It tightened up a lot. Pretty tight going all the way to the 10th frame. We did a key pull in the 5th frame. We pulled Matt Chinatsky and put Wes Swallock in, who then shot a 5-bagger, which was key for us winning that first match.
Cocaine eyes came out.
Yeah, big time. I was scared the lanes.
Yeah, 1266 to 1280, 5-3.
Yeah. So it was coming down the frame. It was really close. Taylor punched in 10. I also punched in 10, being the anchor. And Al Paquette was the anchor for Gold Belt, and he needed to throw a double in 10 to beat it. And he shot the first one, and it was a really heavy shot. Pins were flying everywhere. It looked like he got a corner pin, and out of nowhere, a pin just came and smashed it from the top. He got the first one. And then on the second shot, he didn't hit the middle, so that was the end of that. But yeah, it was definitely not. We didn't walk away with it, that's for sure. We were all pretty nervous.
That's kind of, I guess, as somebody that's watching or the spectators, they want to see a match like that, right? As a competitor, you kind of want to be a blowout so you can just walk away from it. But
yeah, you want a boring game as a competitor.
It's fun being in those matches too, and obviously coming out on top, a grinding match and being the winner. That's always fun. But yeah.
Nice, and there we go. Greg is a double champ, so there's definitely a few people out there that are going to be playing both events at Nationals. So it'll be a long weekend, but obviously you're not shy of playing a lot of games in a weekend, Greg. So
nope. I did it once before, and it's definitely a grind, but I'm looking forward to it.
And fair to say, I mean, that was probably a goal, right? To be a double, and you have the opportunity for guys, and that you want to make them both.
Yeah, for sure.
Good. Well, good on you. Obviously, some solid teams in all the divisions there. Congratulations. Thanks for joining us, fellas. Anything else just before we wrap up? Did we miss anything else with Northern Ontario that we need to mention? I saw, obviously Jeff Watts. We got a name plug there. Any other people that we should mention that played and had a good tournament?
Lyle Dolph shot the only 4 the high game pots. Here I go to YBC bowled the Open. He was second All-Star with a 268 average, so that was pretty cool. And then we also were able to give Dennis Yumakashi his 1986 All-Star medal.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, he averaged 293 for 16 games, and I guess it was just an oversight. So I guess C5 went back and looked at all the stats and realized he was missed, so we were able to present him with his.
Cool.
That's awesome. for them to rectify an issue like that, and that's really good on them.
Yeah, and Dennis is still out. He's anytime we have anything in town, him and Brenda Hummel are always out volunteering, helping out. Like he's not obviously not bowling much anymore, but he's not shy from it at all.
Mm-hmm. People, I thought it was awesome that we actually have apparently the C5 office an extra medal for each thing in there. So it was the original 86 All-Star medal that they gave out. So that's kind of cool. But on a side note, people don't hear a lot about Lyle Dolph out here. Lyle's a hell of a bowler. I think you'll see him make a run for a singles or a team championship real soon, I think.
Not if me and Greg have anything to say about it.
I was having a conversation with him, and I was telling him, like, come out to these guys, come out west to the WCB tournaments. That's how you're gonna, get to that next level. And so hopefully we're gonna see him out next year coming to Australia.
Oh, Daryl Rollins, Scotty,
Yes.
Thank you. So Daryl Rollins cut his finger. We learned, and then someone said off. I was like, okay, did he cut it? What's going on? So he took his ring finger off at the first knuckle on his bowling hand and came and bowled the whole provincial.
Wow.
Didn't ride the pine. Was actively bowling the whole provincial. So he had it stitched up. He had a little finger condom on there to keep it down, but he was missing this much of one of his fingers, and he bowled the whole fucking thing. Guy's a legend. That is absolutely absurd.
He needs an all-star medal just for the sake of it.
Yeah, that was because I saw their 10th spot bowler, Scott's brother, Nick Miner, and I saw him there. I'm like, oh, okay, so Nick's bowling, Daryl's out. And then I see Daryl, and I'm like, Daryl, what's going on? He's like, well, I'm here to bowl. I'm like, you're a fucking madman. And yeah, he bowled the whole thing. He's crazy.
Legends.
Yeah,
Legends.
that's what I said. He's a legend. I will forever remember that. If I ever get hurt bowling, like, well, at least I didn't cut my finger off. Out I go.
Yeah. Well, good to hear. Well, guys, thanks for joining us. Appreciate the recap from Northern Ontario. We'll let you go, and we'll keep on moving on to Manitoba.
Thanks.
Fellas.
Yeah.
All righty. Carrie, you're on mute, or are you testing your mic out or something?
You bet I was testing my mic. Can you guys all hear me? So Lyle Dolph, was he the gentleman that finger in the ball return? Sorry, they had said he cut off.
Arnie Rollins' son,
okay.
Daryl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I just clicked in too. I was thinking, I'm like, well, of course, that's Arnie's son. And I can picture, I was picturing him in my head. I'm like, well, of course, that's Arnie's son.
Yeah. All right. Well, we might as well move on to Manitoba, right? Wow. Let's move on to Manitoba. We have our two singles champions. A little bit different format in Manitoba. We'll go over that with them. But yeah, we have Alyssa Campbell for the ladies and Dwayne Gilardi. Welcome to the show, guys. We can't hear you. Are you is your mic turned
I think it's the first time I see
you now.
Quiet.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Good. How's it going, everyone?
Good.
You're at the bowling alley tonight. You already have league and back at her, eh?
Yeah.
Yep.
St. James Lanes, right? Is that the place of the piss loonies, I hear?
I hear that maybe we shouldn't talk about that.
OC's gonna get in trouble for it. So
soft spot.
Okay.
So obviously Manitoba Open was a little bit different format compared to the rest of the country, maybe besides Quebec. So let's go into it. Was a how many day format? It was 2 days.
it was supposed to be 3, but we went down to 2 because we had some severe blizzard warnings that shut down our city for 2 days. So we used the first day on the Friday as a travel day. We cut 5 games out of the tournament. So we only had 15 instead of 20.
So that was the change that I don't think I knew about. Was that I knew that it moved to Saturday, Sunday, but I didn't realize you also cut out 55 games. But obviously smart for them for you to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the other another thing was the T-Birds there in Brandon, Trevor and Laura. They took us in on short notice due to capacity limits with spectators and traveling and everything from Minnedosa. So that was almost a spur of the moment thing, and they did an incredible job. So
It was like within a week prior, hey?
yeah,
Or
I think
was
so.
it 2 weeks prior?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty quick
It
notice.
was very
anyways.
fast. Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah. And so I guess maybe can you maybe talk about Minnedosa compared to T-Bird's pinfall? I heard it was a little bit different.
So I might have played Minnedosa maybe like 14 years ago when I was still bowling teaching. No, maybe 12 years ago. And everyone's told me that it's not an easy scoring house. You're gonna have to make your spares. You're not running strikes. And then I also heard that T-Birds was supposed to be a higher scoring place. I didn't find it to be anything crazy other than that, it favored the pocket you wanted to shoot in. So if you threw the hook and you hit the right pocket, it scored. Back home here, if I hit the left pocket, that's a big shot for me. And it wasn't like that out there. So
I also heard Minnedosa is still wood lanes opposed to
I think
acrylic.
so, yeah.
Yeah, so that would have changed things a little bit too.
Yeah. So I mean, from my perspective, you're asking the wrong guy to compare the two places because I don't have the experience in both places.
Well, and I know Alyssa doesn't either, right? So
Yeah, I definitely do not.
So that's not a conversation we could really get to in depth with.
That's how Tim runs things. Ask the hard questions. Ask the hard questions.
Yeah, well, you would think they would do their homework before they get on here, right?
So let's go.
We'll drive out to Minnedosa before the next time we get called on.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
We'll go there in snow. It's still snowing, by the way.
Really, still in?
And
Manitoba?
we just got a few more centimeters. We got rain. It melted, then it snowed again. I don't know what's happening. I have no idea. It feels like it's the end of November right now.
Yeah,
no doubt.
So obviously you had the top four made step ladder right after the 15 games. I was watching from afar with just on Sunday because obviously we weren't bowling Sundays. How great was it to have Brad in the step ladder and make Newfoundland? I thought it was a kind of a great thing for his swan song, right? His last event.
Yeah. Well, personally, Brad started lighting a fire under me because he was starting to climb it pretty quick, and prior to Sunday, I was saying like of all the people, don't count Brad out, and he showed up Sunday, and yeah, I don't remember exactly what he shot, but I was watching his scores and thinking, okay, I can't give anything away. He's the one that's going to pass me. I think he was running – his last game was 302 or something. But,
yeah, that's right.
Yeah, 302.
He shot 21 and change for 7 games.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was on day 3. Yeah, that's huge. And obviously behind the 8 ball, we know how much it meant to him. Playing this one, obviously retirement coming up here for him to be able to do that. That's a big number. So congrats to him. And obviously, did you guys see that down in the standings? Like, Brad Rusnak is getting going and firing up here. He's
so that's what I was saying there. Even in the last game, I don't completely remember. I think I had only like maybe a 40 pin or 60 pin lead, and he had started, I think, with a turkey corner spare turkey. And I just thought, oh man, I better get on my horse because I'm gonna need the double knockout in order to do anything. So, he had ended up opening in the 8th frame, I think, and then he finished his game pretty strong for a 302 still. But watching him and Tyson Nelson too, their last 2 games, I know Tyson came to a screeching halt, but. I think he had 200 after 7 or 8. It was a bad last three frames for him, but he had a really big start, and it was definitely something that weighed on my mind for sure.
It was actually pretty cool. The last game I was bowling on a set with Brad and Tyson both, and it was, they knew they were close. Colton was bowling with Dwayne. It was a tight run between them and Brandon as well. And so when they threw the strikes and they were so pumped about it, and to see the passion and the excitement, and everyone knew that it was close, right? And they were all just running it to give themselves a chance. It was a really cool thing to be a part of for sure.
Yeah, because only 4 pins for the two of them, right? Or for them to get in there.
Yeah. Well, watching, I had Colton on my lane for the last day, and he was getting pretty nervous as I think he was watching Brad, and Brad had passed him, Tyson had passed him, and I just said to him, like, instead of worrying about, Brandon was ahead of him, and Tyson was chasing him, and Tyson had maybe a 5-bagger, and he was starting to get in his head, and I just said, hey, why don't you come and catch me? And then he went off and started focusing on his game and playing better, and then he had an opportunity. He was watching Brandon finished first, and I believe Brandon he threw a really good shot. He got a chop off, he spared it, and then he threw a corner pin. And it was interesting because Colton believed that he needed to throw a double in 10 and to punch his ticket, and he ended up throwing the double, and it was pretty intense. He was really lit up. And so speaking of Brad, like back to Brad's situation there, I know Colton was watching it, and it was something that was close to me because I was in his ear, and we were helping each other down the stretch there. So with Brandon and Tyson and Brad, everyone was running hot. So it was really exciting to be a part of. For sure.
Before we jump into the step ladders, obviously, Alyssa, how did it feel leading the way for the ladies, playing with legends like Sandy Anderson, Karen Armstrong, Linda Orn? Obviously, Sandy Anderson made the step ladder. She was obviously playing really well. She shot 18-23 the first day, and it looks like she was leading after the first day.
Yeah, she was leading after the first day by quite a bit, actually. And then from second to sixth, there was like 60 or 80 pins in between the next 5 of us. And, day one, I definitely felt a little off. I wasn't throwing a confident shot at all. I had, a couple of people, hey, like, what's going on? One shot's super good. The next shot is, we don't know where it's going. And I said, that's how I feel too. So coming back day 2 to be able to work out those kinks and then make the take over the lead after that was super cool. I mean, I've always known the Sandys and the Karens and the Lindas, and I know that they have a long resume of successes and stuff. It's just pretty cool now to be able to compete against them for sure. I mean, obviously being from Alberta, I didn't grow up playing against them or anything like that, but yeah, it was super cool to be amongst them and compete with them. And I hope to one day play on a team with them. But yeah, Sandy was intimidating in the stepladder for sure. I don't know if you guys watched my stepladder match, but I wiped my hands a few times, too many. But she's so calm and collected, and I'm out here managing my nerves like I'm just barely starting my career that way. So yeah, she just held it all together, and you can tell she's definitely a veteran in this situation.
And she started running the step ladder as well, right? With a 280
exactly.
and a 300, and then she beat you the first game. So certainly, I can imagine your hands were starting to wipe them down and getting nervous.
I'm super glad I got the 2-game knockout for sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I needed it too. So.
Yeah, Colton had a huge game.
Oh yeah,
the 390.
Well,
right?
He was really excited to give it to me. That's for sure.
280, 30, 390. Right?
280, 307, right? 390.
1,000 basically, yeah.
What was it? 6-bagger, 8-bagger? He must have started with a bunch.
When we played, I honestly I think he finished strong. It wasn't. I think he went turkey corner miss. 6 in a row or something. Yeah. And I managed to throw, I think, 4 or 5 at him and then I missed, or I don't know, whatever. It wasn't enough. I punched at the beginning. It wasn't good. Corner spare, something like that, and then he just didn't stop. So
Yeah.
But he was running hot.
And then
So-
you did the same thing to him in the last game. Sorry, Tim.
No, it's good.
Yeah, it was funny because I talked me and Colton are very close, and I obviously I wanted something that I heard Timmy say too before was that you never want to beat anyone when they're bad. You want to beat them at their best, and I said I hope that let's have a really good match here, and a long time ago I gave him a towel and he asked me to sign the towel, and I thought to myself, I signed your towel. You didn't sign mine. I'm beating you this game. And it worked out in my favor. I don't know what happened or what changed, but the pins went down for me. I think it was more fortunate than unfortunate that game, but he was like, it couldn't have been better. I was there with his parents too, cheering him on the whole way, talking to his mom and dad. And it was something that his parents wanted us to play in the finals too. It was just a really good experience for both of us, I think. And I was fortunate to be on the right side of that one.
So I have two trains of thought here. One, what a great coming out party this year was for Colton. Colton has been absolutely solid all year on tour and with this, and I'm certain how the Masters is going, but
I think he might be the favorite for Eagles.
Big news out of Manitoba. Is it really true that O'Callaghan is actually relatives of Colton's, or is that just a joke?
You know what? That
it's news to all of us today based on O'Callaghan's Facebook status.
A lot of things make sense behind that, I'll tell you.
Yeah. I just I feel bad for Colton. I mean, I really do. But that's absolutely crazy. The one thing I do have for you, Alyssa, don't want to get you thinking too far in advance, but coming from Alberta, going to Manitoba, now you have
my cousin.
Now you have the opportunity to be 2-time singles, one for Masters and one for the Open. Is that coming in like in your mind a little bit, because you played very well this year in Masters?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it was nice to have a fresh start. I mean, 2 years after COVID, the big move. I mean, it's no news to anybody that my life has changed pretty significantly over the last little while. But it's also been my first full season that I've played in at least 5 years. I mean, I was in university for a little while. I traveled Australia for a bit, quit that season, was in Southeast Asia for part of the season before COVID. So I haven't really given myself the opportunity to commit to a full season since then as well. So, the move, mental reset, physical reset, all of that kind of stuff, it feels pretty good. I mean, we've been working, Dwayne and I, for sure, on my mental game too. And it's crazy when you finally put a little bit of time into the game and you see what comes out of it. I mean, even in my stepladder match, first game, I was all over the place with nerves, and he comes over and he says, "Hey, just remember to breathe." And then I throw a turkey, and it's just the smallest little thing to take that extra breath on the lane and have confidence in your shot and stuff. So yeah, I've definitely thought about it. We still have one Masters tournament left, so nothing's set in stone for that one yet. But to go double singles in a year would be definitely one for the books for this season for sure.
Especially with all how many great ladies from out there, right? So you've had a great season, yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, you bet. Well, good work, Manitoba. Stellar singles and a really cool, fun-looking mixed team that's going to put up some competition up at Nationals. And we hope to see more people back and maybe a full contingent from Manitoba next year.
I think that's the goal.
Yeah, great start this year and go for it. So best of luck to you at Nationals, you two.
Yeah,
thank you very much, guys.
We'll see you in Red Deer.
Yeah. Yes.
See you in Red Deer.
Yeah.
All right.
Take care, guys. Thank you very much. Cheers.
See you later,
Carrie,
guys.
I'm not sure if you. Thanks, guys. Carrie, if you got my message there, we're going to do a little switch around. Our guests from BC are Kelly Gorsuch has to bowl here at 8:00 in BC time.
Yes,
so we're going to switch around. I'm going to go BC highlights here and save Alberta for the last.
Alrighty, let's bring that in. So Kelly Gorsuch and Bailey Lawson, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi, guys.
Oh, we just lost Bailey. He just
No, it's only Bailey. No big deal, guys. Yeah, we got the one we took.
Congratulations, obviously. Great to be back playing the Open. Competitive bowling again, and this must have been nice to be in a center at Scottsdale having the tournament. Is that correct?
Oh, it was amazing. It was so great to see all the teams out. The stands were full of people, the loud noise. It felt normal again.
Bailey, you're on mute though, bud.
Muted there, Bailey.
It's like it's his first time, eh? That's a look of confidence right there, Bailey.
I don't think we can hear him. Yeah.
His computer's having issues.
Maybe we'll lose. Yeah, we'll see if you get him back. But I guess Kelly just there you go. We hear you now. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, it was really cool to get to play one of these events again. It's been a couple of years, so and to see all the scores and all the other provinces playing too is always great to see as well.
Yeah, and of course you're the last one to finish, so you're probably watching everybody else and starting to see scores and starting to see winning teams and start to see step ladders and like, okay, does that add to the pressure a little bit on the Saturday to, get your job done and to make it as well?
Mm-hmm.
So let's run down the recap. So singles would have been first. And again, question, did you do the qualifying on Wednesday and then singles finishes on Saturday, or does that all finish on Wednesday?
No, we do 5 games on the Friday, 5 games on the Saturday, and then step ladder on Sunday before the team step ladder.
Oh, right. So BC step ladders on Sundays. You go that extra the whole weekend, right? Just from travel times, right?
Yeah.
So
I would pull up the men's and ladies singles qualifying, but unfortunately their website doesn't have it, or
it's on the Scottsdale Lanes. The Scottsdale Lanes website.
It's bringing me an error. So unfortunately.
Okay.
So do you remember what the qualifying step what for singles would have looked like through there?
I do.
Yeah, go for it, Billy.
Yeah, I remember because I missed the step ladder by 3 points.
Oh no! So you were 6th place.
Yeah, I was. So in the final game, game 10, Bob Herman beat me out, shooting a 302 to shut me out by 3 points. I shot a 283 my last game, so sucked a little bit there, but that's okay. I had a great team to go off of. And then after Bob Herman for the men's came a gentleman from the island named Adam LeBlanc, I think.
Yeah.
And then second place was Leonard Johnson, a fellow teammate of mine from the Okanagan. And then first place was not really a surprise, Jordan Shoes, phenomenal player. And there was
you missed Richie Billiou.
Oh yeah, I missed Richie. He was from BC North, from Dawson Creek.
Yeah, there's a couple of the Billious I think we saw in the 8-gamer this year, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Nice, and he had a go at it, so he won the first few games, getting himself into the final against Jordan.
Yeah, and even in the final, like he gave Jordan a good run for his money, but couple missed spares, couple picks. Well, Jordan ran a couple strikes that made all the difference too, and probably the mental wear on Richie must have took a bit of a toll too, running the whole ladder like that.
Yeah, to get all the way there, and Jordan just sitting there waiting and knows that you got to win 1 game, right? Rather than Richie's got to win 4 games.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do. Well, congrats to Jordan, and then over to the ladies' side.
So I believe it was Paige. I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Mies.
Mies. Yeah.
Mies from BC North. She's a younger player. She's a great player. Definitely one of those with lesser experience compared to the rest in the ladder. But I remember watching her match against Sarah, and she picked a lot. Possibly because of the nerves. I don't know, but Sarah also played a great game.
Yeah.
I don't believe I watched the next few matches. Kelly probably did, but
I was actually in the pit with Jesse, so we were down warming up and spending time there, not really watching the matches. Shannon was a rookie this year, and she was our rookie of the year. And I know she threw really well and came down to the final match.
Yeah, and Jesse
very
played
close last game there. I mean, is that one pin I'm looking at?
One
Yep.
pin, yeah.
Wow, what happened, Kelly?
Well, at the beginning of the game, Jessie had a lot of nerves. She had 75 after 5, so she picked every single thing, no marks. And I just kept telling her, gotta breathe. And then she threw her beast ball and started throwing strikes, and it came down to the 10th frame. And Shannon needed, I believe, a mark to be able to shut her out, and she opened.
Right.
Yeah.
Jesse played phenomenally. Like
all weekend.
Oh, it was amazing to watch. I think for her singles qualifying, I don't know, going into day 2 after 5 games, she had 200 points, 200 and some points over second place. It was insane. Yeah. I think she probably averaged low to mid 280s for 10 games. Yeah. Even blew Jordan out of the water.
For the qualifying, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, good. Couple of strong representatives there from the singles side of things.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Maybe we'll go to the mixed team first. So qualifying and then a step ladder as well for you guys, or is only qualifying?
Yes. Both qualifying and step ladder.
Okay. So Fraser Valley North, first overall there in the qualifying, and then Fraser Valley South and Okanagan there. Anything significant to look at in the mixed qualifying side of things?
I didn't watch any of the mixed teams at all. It was tough because we were all bowling at the same time, so you didn't really get a chance to go see what's happening, and we were trying to do our own job at that time.
And you're all the same place, but you're all in separate groups. So the mixed would be down here, the men's are down here, and the ladies are down there, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So in Alberta, we mix everybody together. So you might be bowling right next to the 2 mixed teams, and on the other side is 2 ladies teams. So it's not all segregated.
Yeah.
So you can always feed off of maybe your own zone too, right? You can have the men's and ladies right next to each other, but.
Yeah, I didn't pay too much attention to the mixed as well. I did.
Alan Byrne there, a pro leaguer, playing with Debbie as well, or is that Chelsea that I saw?
Debbie.
Okay.
I didn't really get a chance to watch them play. I did talk to them from time to time to just check in, see how they're doing. They did struggle to get started in terms of score and stuff. And Scottsdale as a whole for the whole weekend did play. I found personally, and I think the scores kind of show it as well, like it did play fairly tough for a lot of people. I saw a lot of pocket aces from people who chuck pretty hard. Like I remember watching when we were playing against Fraser Valley South, Jordan Schuss's team. He just buries one in the pocket and the 3 pins just go right over top of the 2 pins. It was nuts. And
and the averages for the All-Star show how low it was. I mean,
about 250.
That's a grind of a weekend, right?
It was a grind for sure.
You're not throwing strikes and you're just getting tapped and you're constantly blowing through and having to pick wood. I mean, it's certainly not the same as what would have been at Alberta Provincial. So
yeah.
Okay, so then into the step ladder there for mixed and Fraser Valley.
Me and Kelly actually watched the Okanagan in the Lower Mainland game.
Yes.
That one it started pretty good, then it just turned into a blowout.
Yeah. Lower Mainland couldn't get anything going at all, and the Okanagan just lit it up.
Yeah, 8-0 there. That would have been big. And then sort of the same thing happens back to them with Fraser Valley South going 7-1 to them.
And then Fraser Valley North was was really was a pretty solid team. Like they had some solid players. Like they had Gary Koschuk, they had Kylie Herman, some
Mark
solid
Bailey.
players. And so they just kind of, I didn't get to see it. Yeah, they kind of just dominated. I didn't get to see it because I was playing at the time, but that's what it just seemed like.
Yeah. All right, to the ladies' side of things. I know, Kelly, you got a bowl here tonight, so maybe we'll do the ladies' side.
Perfect.
So lower mainland, so tough qualifying. You got two teams that look like they were battling and only by 1 point at the end there. So that would have came down to that last game.
Yeah, it started I'm obviously in lower mainland, and we started off the first day. We didn't do well. We did okay, 3 wins, 3 losses. And the next day we just came in and knew we had a job to do. So after the second day, we were 2 points out of first and came down to the last game, like you said, and we knew we needed to tie them 6 points to finalize first. And so we had one of our matches was a 380 to 390 in the ladies, and we had the 390, and we needed that big game to stay with her so we could take total, and we ended up taking 7 to beat Okanagan by 1 point to stay in first. So
right. And then to the step ladder.
The step ladder.
And you needed the 2 games in the step ladder to get the job done too. So obviously Okanagan almost got it done too.
Yeah, well, the first game.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, the first game we had nothing going, and they just kept going and got it done. And then it came down to the second game, and it was pretty even up until about the 5th frame, and even 6th, 7th, and then 8th we started getting a little bit more going, and then 9th we got it going, and our lead bowler Jackie Grossart shot a 4-bagger, and Laurie Staberg had a double in there, and by the 4th bowler we'd locked them out. So
and pretty experienced team there, Kelly, right?
Yeah.
Coming to win at the end of the day, and you look at the list and you look at the teams, and you've got some veteran players on yours that have played a lot of tournaments and WCBT even events and stuff. So no stranger to big shots you need to make.
No, and this is our 4th year in a row going for BC. So we're a team that works well together on and off the lanes. We do a lot of team building outside of the center. Mm-hmm. And so we have a lot of trust in each other. And so I think that really, it goes a long way, right? I mean, we're not just leaving each other in the pit. We're there for each other. So and our coach works so well with us and knows the right things to say to us at all times and keeps it loose, and we have a good time with it, and we just work really hard.
Yeah. Well, definitely going to be a team at nationals. When you look across the rosters, it'd be like, you got to watch out for the BC ladies.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. And then here's then the men's team round robin, obviously 3 teams looking like they are at the top. So again, Fraser Valley's and Okanagan, Bailey.
Oh man. So this was actually pretty crazy. Going into the final game, there was, I can't remember. I think it was us from the Okanagan had, I think, like 67 points, followed by Fraser Valley South that had 66.5, and then Fraser Valley North had 66. So there was 1 point separating 3 teams, and my team, we played against, our final game was against Fraser Valley North, so we knew that was a huge game, which was really important to secure that first place spot and get that extra game and 2-game bye. And Fraser Valley South had to play against Vancouver Island, so we knew that Vancouver Island could show up and take some points, but we knew at the end of the day it was ours to lose, so we had to show up big. And it just happened that Vancouver Island took a few matches off of Fraser Valley South, and we had a really good showing against Fraser Valley North, so we managed to get the job done. But the step ladder was extremely interesting, with the lower mainland making a really good run, taking us to a second game in the finals. But that second match where they played Fraser Valley South was probably one of the best matches I've ever seen. It came right down to the 10th frame of the anchor bowlers, and Fraser Valley South, it had Jordan as their anchor, and then Lower Mainland had Aaron King as their anchor, And it was just a phenomenal game. I know the Lower Mainland had one of the rookies on their team throw like a 7-bagger that game, so that was really huge for them. And it was just crazy because everyone was rooting for the underdogs there, and including myself, honestly, because it's just really cool to see those kinds of matches shake out that way. And Aaron King, Jordan and Aaron went shot for shot in 10. They both shot the first double each, and then Aaron just needed to chopper better on his last shot to shut him out, and he shot a corner pin, and the place just went mental. It was insane.
Nice.
And,
that's the video posted on Facebook.
Yep,
of Aaron
that's
King
the
throwing that
moment.
corner.
That's why you play this game, right? Is to make shots like that.
Yep.
Or to be in situations, or to be a fan watching that happen. I mean, that's why we do it.
Oh yeah, and me and Aaron are pretty good friends, and he told me before the step ladder even started, he's like, "I'll see you in the finals," and he got the job done. So.
And
It's
then
really
they came and
cool
beat
to
you
see.
the first game, so obviously nervous there. But then in the second one, you were able to close the deal.
Yeah, the first game was a little rough. We were coming off of, we hadn't played a game in about 3 hours, and we were playing a little tight. Had a few rookies on our team who were pretty nervous. So not throwing a great shot, just hanging lots of corners, getting some chops, some missed spares, all that kind of stuff. And they had some rookies too, but they just played better that game. And we switched sets for the next game, and we kind of regrouped.
Yeah, I know Lower Mainland had 4 rookies, and I believe Okanagan did too. Did you not?
We had one rookie, but going to nationals, we have 5.
Okay, we have 4 rookies for the provincials, provincials this weekend on that team.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a huge day for
Yeah.
them.
And like even that game, some of our bowlers were pretty nervous. I was playing lead most of the weekend, and I have this philosophy, I guess, where like you're not only leading your team on the lanes to get them hyped up and ready to go and get the momentum rolling, but you're also kind of leading them off the lanes too, kind of giving them a bit of a mental reset when they need, kind of helping out there. So like a good example in that final game was we have Mike Elder on our team, who he's a phenomenal player, and he was playing 4-hole, and he was just playing really tight, and you could tell because he's just hanging corners, plowing head pins. And I took him back, and I told him, like, you are one of the best players here, and you need to just believe that in yourself. And he just said thanks, and he went and he lit it up after that, and he came alive. And after the game, he thanked me for telling him that. But like, sometimes you just need someone else to tell you those kinds of things. So it was a phenomenal time.
Yeah.
And your team needs to know that you believe in them.
Yeah,
That's huge.
exactly.
Like,
And for me personally, it was really nice to get that win, because my last Open Provincials ended with missing nationals by 2 points. So
It's
this
good
was kind of
redemption.
a nice redemption. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Obviously, again, some strong teams coming out of BC, going to provincials. So congratulations to you two for making it, and best of luck going forward. So obviously, a little pro league experience coming through there, Bailey, getting yourself back to nationals, playing pressure shots.
Oh yeah.
Little plug for pro league.
Love it.
We'll see you guys out there. Good luck in Newfoundland.
Thank
Good
you.
luck
Bye,
tonight,
guys.
Kelly.
Thank you. Bye.
See you later.
All right. Last but not least, little
Yeah, we're getting there.
Alberta singles champions coming to the show.
All the
Wrap up
watchers
with-
and the viewers across the country we're starting to lose them all now. Interest is no longer there.
Oh, it's just Alberta, eh?
Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah, who wants to see Adam Weber again, right? Yeah.
That's right. That's why we'll bring him in last. So, ladies singles champion and ladies team champion, Jenna Lamoureux. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
And rookie of the year.
And rookie Tootsie. Yeah.
Tootsie, yeah.
And
That was
everybody's
amazing.
favorite bowler, Adam Weber.
Boo.
What's up, everyone?
Yeah.
I'm
Congrats,
still trying.
guys.
Thanks. I'm still trying to figure out, how did you guys let
Greg DeGrazia back on after the podcast
He said
debacle early on. He was
he said
terrible.
He spoke more this time.
He was nervous. He said the internet was better and give him another chance. So
He did really good tonight, I'd say.
you know what?
Coming around
I'll
to
give
this interview
four-
thing, okay?
4.5 stars, right? And he wasn't perfect, but he was good. That's for sure.
Yeah, so obviously both singles champions, both on the teams going to Newfoundland. Absolutely amazing bowling by the both of you. So I guess we'll start with the singles, right? Might as well.
Yeah, let's look it up. And obviously here, first comment we have to look at is Derek Holm having a spectacular 10-game qualifying of 316. I mean,
Yeah.
You guys must have seen that and playing in there. And Kerry, you played it. Tim, and you played in it too. And Derek just kind of went off, didn't he?
Oh, he was in God mode, right? He was just on free will, and nothing's going to hurt him at that point, right? And all pockets. There was no cheesy strikes either.
That's why I couldn't get a 300. He had them all. There's only so many out there, and he stole them.
You didn't, Kerry. You didn't have a 300 and still almost made the step ladder.
Yeah, super consistent, but not good enough.
But we had 3 Calgarians make the step ladder, which is, nice to see. Tyler, heartbreaking, we got to mention there. That's not something that we'll see a long time in his career. 163 in the 10th game. I think you had, 6 or 7 head pins?
Yes,
Yeah.
Couldn't get off of it.
And Adam, you had a big comeback. So you had a 316 finish that would have got you in, because those 3 behind you, you were behind them, so got you all the way up there.
I think I was 5th going into that last game. And if I remember correctly, both Gary and Ty jumped, Miller. I jumped ahead of both of them, and I think Gary snuck past Kerry there as well.
Yeah,
that's right.
Gary was, I think, 10 points behind me going into that last game, and he passed me and Ty. And Mark Miller and Ty both started that last game really rough. Mm-hmm. Mark ended up putting a 4-bagger together in the last little bit there to secure his 238, but Ty unfortunately wasn't able to close out. But that's the thing about that 10 gamer, right? You never know. You got to keep putting scores up there, because unfortunately you can run into those guys that have a really rough game, and it's hard to break out of it, right?
Well, and that's where a 360 or a 370 that you all knew was capable at Bonnie Doon, you could do that. Right. And if you had somebody who shows, a 160 or even a 220, I mean, that's huge gainers at any point in time.
Yeah. 100%. If you have a bad game, you're out. My buck 77 is a prime example of that. Tough to come back from that, right? And everybody was shooting really well. We'll talk a little bit more about it, but obviously everybody was interested in seeing the scores at Bonnie Doon. I thought the cut might be a little bit higher there. Right? Maybe in my head, I thought so. Over the weekend, it was the same kind of thing. But I mean, regardless, there was some really great bowling, and a lot of people. I think we might only see maybe 2 or 3 chop strikes, and it wasn't a huge part, right? So, yeah,
that's right. It wasn't a lot of huge kickback strikes. There was a bunch of 12 counts, but the 2-pin didn't come and knock down the 3.
Correct.
Yeah. And then over to the ladies' side, now Jenna started with a 358. Obviously, wins the first single spot, and kind of didn't look back from there, did you, Jenna? Obviously, a couple in 5 and 6. Throwing the ball really solid. Just must have felt super confident on that day. Were you nervous to start, or would throwing a 358 helped?
I definitely was nervous, but I think throwing the 358 my first game definitely helped to calm my nerves, and I felt really solid that day. And it obviously continued throughout the entire 10 games. But starting with a pretty high game, I was just rolling from there pretty much.
And then you start seeing people, guys like Bonnie McDonald, I remember, had a tough start, but was able to work her way into Diane Violini. The great Di has obviously got her into second place. And Heidi Mapstone, big finish. We saw Megan Clark, remember, throwing a 7-bagger to finish her 10th game. That came in and knocked out, the likes of Tracy Smith and Julia Robco in that 10th game. Even Jennifer Baker too, right below the list.
See, I actually I don't look at any of the stats when I'm bowling. So for me, I didn't know who was where. I was obviously kind of aware that I was in the top 5, but I I didn't know until I had finished my game and I was waiting to see what Diane was going to throw because she and I were very close. I think she needed a 332 to beat me. And obviously, I think it was her 7th or 8th frame where she just missed. Like, I think she had a corner, but I didn't look at any of it. So I didn't know who was in the running. So for me at the end, it was kind of interesting to see who was going to be in the step ladder. So.
Well, very fun. And then, so if we pulled up the step ladder now, Carrie, for this. So step ladder over on the men's side, we started with Mark Miller and Gary Baird. And Gary shoots a 311. Not a whole lot of chance for Mark to really get going. Then Adam, you played Gary 290, 240. And then obviously took care of Parker 280, 170. How were those two matches? You would call those two?
Well, I guess kind of with that message there from Eagleheart, that first match having to go up against Gary is definitely a bit of a daunting task. I know there's a bit of a running joke. He has been one of my biggest rivals. At least getting over the hump of beating him. I've called him my nemesis for many years. The guy typically shoots 3.5 at me, so even my 320, 330s aren't good enough, but played really well in that match. I think I got up fairly early, and then he was just chasing the whole time. The match against Parker, I think he had a really good break right in the middle of that game, and you could just tell that I think it actually took him out of kind of his mental strategy there. And he just couldn't find it after that, so I just kind of plugged along and beat him quite handily.
And then up against Derek Holm, which obviously a rivalry there too, and some history. And you come out firing here with a 337 first game, and then the second game, obviously he got the double knockout. Second game, I remember he punches I think 6 times in that game. Pretty early on, you jumped all over him, and it was sort of done time there, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first game, I think we were relatively even. Maybe I was up about 10 or 12 or something like that through about 6 or 7 frames, and I think he had one big plow. I want to say about 7th or 8th, and I basically ran the table from there. The second game, I started really well. If I remember correctly, it was like strike chop spare like double or something like that, and he you could tell he was pressing early. Losing that first game is never an easy thing as a top seed, so you're always pressing a little bit more, and he knows I probably have another 280 290 in me type thing, right? So he's pressing the whole time, and he was just trying to catch up. I was ahead pretty much the whole match.
Yeah, well, good on you, and obviously congrats to you. That's 6-time Alberta single champion and 3 times in a row. So that's a huge feat going into the likes of some of the best of all time. So good on you there, bud.
No, thank you.
And then over to the ladies' side, Heidi Mapstone made a run up the ladder, going 270, 290, 330s for a 900-ish triple. Jenna, seeing her come up into the final must have been a little bit nervous as well, and obviously a teammate and somebody you play with on Sunday nights. But how are you feeling going into that final match?
I was a little nervous. I didn't watch Diane and Heidi's last match. I was way on the other side of the alley, just trying not to watch it. I was very nervous going into it because I'm very young, going up against my own teammate who's been trying to get the singles champion. But I think I still had that groove going from the 10 games, and I obviously started out with 4 in a row, which was a great start for me. And Heidi definitely struggled quite a bit. I know she was missing more than she usually does. So having come off of 3 really good games, I don't know if that kind of took a toll on her, but I think I had it out of the gun. I was 4 out, and then I think I might have had a headpin. Otherwise, I was sparing it or strikes most of the game. So I think by the 5th or 6th frame, I think I had it at that point. So, but definitely nerve-wracking because I didn't know if it was Diane or Heidi that I was going against. So knowing 2 great ladies that I'd have to bowl against was very nerve-wracking.
Yeah, and add in Bonnie in there too, and any one of those 3, as a first timer having to play would certainly have some nerves in there. But you handled the situation well, and congratulations, very deserved winner there. All right, let's move to what do we got next there, Carrie? So ladies division. So it ends up being a little bit in the 115 to 96 points, a little bit more of a gap than what it seemed like, because we played 10 games on Thursday, 8 games on Friday, 7 games on Saturday. It kind of looks like it was a runaway a bit, but there was a little bit of nerves for the Edmonton ladies team on Friday night. Lost your last game before you finished and having to come back in the morning. I think you even had a bye first game in the morning. So there was potential for things to tighten up quite a bit there with Calgary on Saturday morning. But tell us your thoughts of the ladies division there, Jenna.
Ladies division, I mean, for our Edmonton team, like, we had a pretty strong team going into it. Obviously, it's my first time in the Open, so I really wasn't sure what to expect with the ladies, but we were pretty okay. I think Calgary and South had us almost every game where we struggled to get it together. Like, they took, I think, the first 2 or 3 times we played them, like, they took most of the points, and then it was the last game or 2 that we played that we actually won points off of them. So that was kind of where we struggled. Otherwise, we threw pretty well as a team. Like, there was not a lot of issues with the dynamic and everything. I mean, one of us might have had an off game, but it was mainly like Calgary and South that had us. And I know the Friday night but all 3 of the nights we were pretty much done by the last 2 games. So that's kind of where those losses came in. I think we were just ready for another start. And then the Saturday morning we came in and it was our game and our day, and we knew what we needed to do. And obviously you can tell by having 115 points at our last game, it didn't even matter what we threw. We had it in the bag. So,
and you personally there had a 16 win tournament. Pretty amazing.
I, again, didn't pay attention to any of that. Len was the one to tell me, I think, going into our last game, he's like, I think you have a shot at high points and high average. And I'm like, oh, okay, like, good to know. And then didn't win my point last game. I think I punched 7 head pins. And but it was an amazing feeling. I threw really well that weekend, and it felt really, really good.
Can you maybe touch base on, we were bowling beside you some of the games. It seemed every time when you're playing Calgary against the Mara, you guys had huge games against each other.
Yeah. So Demara's kind of been that one person for me that I don't want to bowl against. I mean, plays really well, and I think she threw a 368 at me. And I think I threw a 306, and that was very, very devastating. And then the last game we played them, I was like, I'm not letting her win again. And I think we struggled. I think I only had 130 and 6 or something, and ended up throwing 6 in a row to beat her with a 299. So that was an amazing feeling, to beat the person I don't want to beat me. But yeah, I played lead, so having to play lead and bowl well and get the team going for Calgary was a big deal.
Well, it was fun to watch, and obviously a big win there for the Edmonton ladies. On to the next one there, Carrie. What do we got?
We have the men's division.
There's the men's. So men's, again, another 20-point victory. In all honesty, a little bit more comfortable win than what the ladies would have been. I mean, the guys, you sort of had that 3-4 games to go in there, and really it was just the Edmonton men's team, the train to come in. But you did lose the very first game. You had a bye and then a loss to North.
We lost every first game of the day. We lost every first game of the day. So whether that was a wake-up call, maybe Adam can attest on that. And it helped us. Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely slow starters. But the one thing I will say, that what I definitely found this year, it felt like there was more parity within the 5 zones for the men's teams. That that North team had a lot of firepower. With the Tonkin boys especially, Scotty Helka played a couple of really nice games there, but they seemed to be in way more matches than I would say the normal, and the South teams were phenomenal as well. So we struggled a couple games against each of those guys, but overall we're pretty comfortable. We're leading after each day. Good mindsets, being able to go into the next day and then of course lose that first match, kind of bring us back down to earth a little bit. But team played absolutely phenomenal. Through some record scores in there. Calgary and Central probably didn't enjoy playing us the first couple days, to be honest. We shot multiple 1500s at Calgary. Shot the 1637 at Central there, which I believe is an Alberta record, if I heard correctly. So that was pretty cool. But the team played phenomenal, and our bench play was nothing short of spectacular. Hearsay, I guess, but my understanding is our bench came in and averaged about 303. Wow. As a bench. They weren't necessarily winning individual matches, but it was a complete turnaround for the team once they came in, because they were throwing a triple, four bagger, and then the team would just start absolutely rolling. So
305, 305 average coming off the bench. Wow. It's and I think that was the key for we played really well that way. I have to admit, like, there was a match against Calgary. We talked about it. I mean, Parker, we're talking about probably one of the best matches I've ever been a part of. At one point, I think it was frame 4 to frame 7 or frame 5 to frame 8 out of 20 possible strikes. They shot 18 in a row, right? And it was just ball for ball at that point, right? And I mean, that's exactly what we were expecting going to Bonnie Doon. It was supposed to be those big scores and whatnot. And
we had a point that the ladies team, I think, had 32 marks in a row.
Yeah.
Right. The Edmonton ladies team. The Edmonton mixed team, they broke a mixed team national or provincial record as well. So there were some, big games in there. Even looking through the stats pack there, several 270 averages. Bobby Tompkins, Bobby Doodle from the North, he's over 270. Shelby Crest is over 270. The entire men's team from Edmonton was over 270. Right. So the scores were there, just not the 400s and 440s and a runs of perfect games, I think. But. So there's a big win from the Edmonton, and all accounts, Tim, I know you tried to deflect the pressure away from the Edmonton men's team, but we all knew that the Edmonton men's was the favorite heading in, and you lived up to the hype and through a big tournament. So Carrie, further thoughts there from Central. I know you were on Central, had even a couple of different game plans. One time you said, we tried to play the quiet game against them, but the Edmonton zone were able to feed off of themselves, and just so whatever game you could play, it didn't matter because they were doing their own thing.
Yeah, we clearly figured it out after the first day that we couldn't fireball with Edmonton. There wasn't really that option. So going into the second day, we kind of thought, well, maybe we'll stay quiet, because Central's kind of known as a quiet team anyway. So let's just not get over pumped. Maybe it'll draw some attention from Edmonton just a little bit. It didn't need to be much, but I think that's when they came out and threw the 1637 at us. They were just rolling themselves. There was nothing we could do to douse what they were doing. And it's not like we were playing bad. We shot 1400. It's the way
that
the
was
ball
Shelby's
rolls.
9-bagger, right? I moved the camera midway through that game. Shelby's 9-bagger, and we're all watching for this.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's Edmonton. It was the team to win in Bonnie Doon, hands down. There was no question about it. And like you were saying, Tim was doing a little bit of deflection and stuff like that. And good on him to help whatever Tim was going through with that, to help that. But when you qualify out of that center for half your qualifying, and all those players play really well at Bonnie Doon. There's not a single player on that team that doesn't play well at Bonnie Doon. So Yeah, it was clearly the team to beat, and they showed it. They played unreal. Like you said, the whole team averaged over 270, right?
Yeah.
Pretty tough to beat a team like that.
Yeah, but realistically, the so-called big three, every single one of those players on both of those teams hit the middle a ton, and if you hit the middle a ton at Bonnie Doon, you're supposed to score. So realistically, with us averaging 15 to 20 pins higher per person on occasion, there's more to it than just Edmonton players playing at Bonnie Doon, right? We played.
Oh
better.
no! Don't take me wrong. That your players can't play anywhere else, Adam. Just saying that those players at Bonnie Doon are the best players, right? You can go back through all the leagues. That's part of the Edmonton at Bonnie Doon, right? It's not a bad thing. It's not anything saying against them. We're coming into a house that nobody plays at. Like Mark Miller's never played 17-inch bases or black and stuff like that. So it's coming out of their element and trying to find something that's going to work. And some players did, but there was a lot that didn't either.
It was
right?
It was certainly the advantage to Edmonton, 100%.
Yeah, and that's all it is. And you guys clearly played the best. You were hitting the side a ton. Nobody was getting thick hits or anything like that. Besides Adam, a little bit, you were getting the thick crunchers, but that's your game. So
I get those anyways, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's not anything bad. It's just it was clearly the team to beat, and we didn't step up enough in order to stop that. And good on you. I can't wait to cheer you on in Newfoundland and represent Alberta, right?
So
go fund me.
By the way, Tim ducked me to save his All-Star.
Oh no, okay. Let's clarify. I got a couple things to clarify here. Okay? One, I did not duck you. Lynn sat me, and I didn't even know about it. And then I said to Adam in the pit, I was like, "Oh, he's sitting me. I didn't know that, right?" And he's like, "Well, do you want to play?" Like, ask me if I want to play. I was like,
and Tim's no, because he's playing carry.
I was like, I didn't know I was playing carry. But I played the next match, and I didn't duck hockey, and he still owes me a drink. Two, I personally did think you guys were the best team, and I'm saying that still now. Try to stay humble the best you can. I know maybe not everybody on my team is that way, but we try to. And looking at the way
you can't say that now after the tournament. You can't be like, you guys are still the best team. No, clearly you won by 1,000.
But I was going in that way. And third of all, if anybody knows, maybe this is a topic. Carrie took my mojo and called me out in the middle of the match. Absolutely crazy. Like we all guys teams have little quirks and stuff like that. And Pro League ruined it because he knows my little quirk. And he called me in the middle of the match. And then we promptly shot 1,600 against him. But that's besides the point.
What do you mean promptly?
No. I was honestly, I was a little mind blowing there a little bit because I was like, man, are they going to do that to me too now?
What's your thing? What's your thing, Tim? We all need to know.
You can't do something and get caught and then be hurt when somebody calls you out on it. That's part of the game too.
You just do it twice as much.
Yeah,
that's right. You do it all the time.
It wasn't necessarily a hurt. It was like I got beat real bad there. But then we're sitting in the hotel room later that night, and everybody else is coming up with their things that they do. Right? I was like, that son of a bitch. I swear to God.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the mixed team here. So this is the closest division at the end of the day. Calgary ends up getting it done, and they just seem to be a unit there on Saturday that were coming. The last three games, 6-7-7 was pretty big. The Edmonton 92, North, South, and Central, all four of those teams honestly had a shot at it. I think it was going into the very last game, all three teams were within 1 point.
Yeah.
And Calgary, obviously you see 7-2 there difference. So it was really close couple of points. And Calgary, I think they're 4-5. Well, Rob Wolfson and Mike Herbert both had started with 5 baggers.
Yeah.
So it was kind of done there.
760 double or something between the two.
Yeah.
Now the stats pack is a little wrong because I know Central got third,
right,
just with the tiebreaker. But like if you were there, it was probably the most exciting last match, right? I mean, Calgary's facing South, Edmonton's facing Central, and Central's not giving up on beating Edmonton, right? So it was it was a hell of a finish watching it from in the pit. Yeah, really cool.
Have you guys ever seen in any of the three divisions 4 teams that close at the end of it all?
I don't think you'd see that 4 teams, maybe 3,
No.
but 4 certainly, and that's great to see. I mean, that's the depth of the province at all the levels that you could do that, right? I mean, it's just great to see. So you got Rob Wolfson there. I think he had a big tournament.
Yeah, it was 269,
right?
268.
Cody Steer from Edmonton, he won 16 matches.
Yeah.
You know, but that Calgary team, you know, Bev Magnus and Dina, you know, just power throwers that were there. Pam Wilson, coached by an experienced team in Jeff Wilson, right, being there. So kudos to them. Obviously, very heartbreaking for us in Edmonton and not having the Edmonton sweep for them and our 5PNU buddy Dexter. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's a big moment for Wolfson as well. His last nationals was 16 years ago, and I played on that team, and it just happened to be in Newfoundland. We played on that mixed team, and didn't end as well as we were hoping. So for him to kind of get that little bit of redemption and, you know, a chance to go back and you know, wear that blue. He had Masters taken away from him a couple of years ago with COVID. So the perseverance and still being able to get out there and make that nationals, it's a really, really big deal for that guy.
Yeah, I'm super happy for him.
And he's had a great year, right? And we
yeah.
knew it. And we knew that team. I mean, they struggled a bit during the middle of the tournament, but when it came down to making the big shots and winning the matches they did, you know, they went 4-1 against Edmonton. Right in the tournament.
Yeah.
So if you look at something, that's where a couple of
difference.
That's the difference, right?
It's
so good on Robbie, good on
them,
them.
right?
Yeah, totally. Anything else from you, Jenna, that you saw from the Alberta provincials that you know were key moments? Obviously, you know, some big games or big matches or people that were playing. What are your thoughts? Wrap it up for us.
I mean, I'm still kind of trying to get it to sink in. It hasn't fully sunk in the whole tournament. But I mean, bowling out of Alberta has always been very tough. So having the best of the best adults to be in the same space, men and women, is always a great experience. Bowling, when you, like you said, Alberta has mixed, so you be beside a men's team or a mixed team. That kind of always gets people fired up. So watching the men's and women's bowl great games is always amazing. But yeah.
So Jenna, knowing that in a couple months you have to play all day, every day, for both singles and teams. I know Adam's in his peak physical condition right now, but is there anything that you're going to be working on or focusing on to handle that?
I mean, it is a learning curve because I haven't experienced it. I am also still coming off of an injury, so I'm not sure how that's going to go. I mean, I have been at the peak of my game right now. It has felt really good compared to the last couple of years. I've kind of gotten that feeling of what feels good. So my game necessarily, it's more mental than anything. I know Dexter's always said I don't have the confidence, and that's where a lot of when I struggle, it comes into is understanding that I can compete with these ladies, and clearly I proved it this weekend. But my game it's the same. It's mostly just confidence for me than anything, and it'll be a long weekend for sure, but it's definitely an exciting experience to be able to be part of.
Good work. And then for you, Adam, any key moments that you would have seen across the weekend that we need to make mention of?
Yeah, I don't know. A couple things that really caught my eye. No perfect game that everyone was thinking. Only I think 300-400s total. Yeah. Chop Cherry 398. Well done. But no, it was just really nice to get together again. Seeing everybody without masks, you know, getting the high fives again. It kind of felt like things were somewhat normal. I know there was a lot of great bowling, right? You expect big scores out there. Watching Jenna's performance all weekend was phenomenal. From Ty's heartbreak in the singles to watching him perform as our lead all week was phenomenal to watch as well. So really looking forward to nationals. Like Jenna, I'm battling a few pretty significant injuries as well. So that double duty is going to be difficult, and expecting, especially after listening to Brad Glenn earlier today, expecting lanes to be a little bit heavier, and a little bit tougher, right? So we're going to be throwing more balls on heavier approaches, and we'll get the right mindset. And once you're in the moment, it's kind of becomes easy, Jenna. Trust me.
We're hoping.
Just remember, Adam, when you go to that individual second, you're a team player first, right? So keep that mindset right there for us, right?
Yeah, always a team player, Timmy. You know that.
Thanks for the reminder, Tim.
But I thoroughly enjoyed watching bowling this weekend. I mean, I said to Lynn multiple times, I absolutely love watching Vic play, Gary play, and watching some of these other players that we haven't seen in a long time play. It was crazy watching the banquet. First time we had a banquet in 3 years, and for 95% of it, people were just talking and socializing because they haven't seen each other in so long. It was just nice to get on the lanes and get to see some people and reconnect. And I think that's always the best part about it all.
Yeah. You betcha. Well, let's let these two go, Carrie, and we'll wrap up our little bit and we'll do it. But obviously, great weekend for both of you, Adam and Jenna, representing Alberta. Double champs. There's a few of you out there, Crystal as well. But it'll have
Shane
Chafe. Yeah, there's going to be a few. So.
Greg DeGrazia.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
That's
good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great national, and obviously we're going to see you two a few more times before that happens. But good luck.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Fun.
Yeah, so that was a good show. Lots of, like I said, podcast of champions. There you go.
Yeah.
Thanks. And you know what? Part of it, thanks to all the people that are watching and listening and being engaged. I didn't say thanks to 5-Pin Universe at the banquet, had a few things going, but honestly, I do believe 5-Pin Universe has been a driving force in why bowling is so popular and it's so easy to talk to people. And we have this podcast and we have live stream going on. So obviously, thanks, Carrie, for helping all your setup and your time and what we've started here. And it's super fun to be part of. And obviously, that's why, campaign a bit for getting 5-Pin U to Newfoundland. We'll start a GoFundMe. We'd love to come there and film and commentate and be part of it. So we'll look at some flights on our own. But yeah, just jokes. But it'd be cool to be there. Right?
It was awesome.
100%.
Talking to all these people here that are come on the show and now they're going to be at nationals. It's just the things that we want to do and want to build for the sport. It's fun. So thanks to all the people that are engaged and people that are watching, all the people who bought merchandise over the weekend. Carrie's wearing our Chopped Cherry new T-shirt right now. Graphic shirt line that we're going to start doing.
It came to fruition. Of course, I bought the shirt on the Friday, and then Saturday morning, throw a $3.98 11 strike Chopped Cherry. What a cluster!
Yeah, let's get Chopped Cherry to the nationals. But no, great show. Obviously, thanks for everybody coming on. Sorry to those some provinces who we didn't get to this weekend. You did it last weekend. It was a sort of a quick decision here. How are we going to do it? We know you didn't want to just listen to Alberta talk all night. So we had to get you all on, and we had a lot of listeners. So thank you for being part of the show.
Thanks, guys.
Perfect. Well, we'll see you all next week. Good luck for everybody playing green and gold this weekend. I think Glencairn's having a tournament in Regina this weekend. And for all those other provinces, unfortunately, we don't know a ton of what's going on in your areas, but I'm sure there's more bowling going on. We look forward to talking to you again next week. But if we don't see you then, we'll see you hopefully at the Heritage Traditional in May.
Yeah, we got big few weeks coming, right? We got green and gold.
Pro League.
We got Pro League on May 1st. There you go.
You bet.
Right. Bombers versus Next Gen. And then Toppler Roses got the double. And then you got the week after will be the finals, right, of the Pro League
Yep.
finals.
You
And then the
bet.
week after will be Heritage,
Yeah.
right? So
Big weekends.
little snippet here. Anybody who's out here watching and you are involved in Pro League, you will see a notice here in the next week about letter of intent for next year. We will be starting to officially gather that list and expansion and start dealing with it. So it might be time to buck up. There might be a deposit required for next year, but time to get serious and start planning for next year's Pro League. So that will be coming. So if you haven't talked to you, be sure to get in touch with me and Carrie, and we'll figure out what the plan is going to be, because the planning needs to begin. Expansion is happening.
Yeah. I do want to throw a tidbit out. I'm flying out tomorrow to Kelowna for IP Nationals. So if anybody wants to watch some IP Nationals, Gluckter, everybody is going. I know I'm going to see Gerald there. Sucks to be me, but we'll enjoy ourselves. Cindy and I are going out there, and a bunch of us are just going to go cheer on the Team Alberta. Yeah, and
awesome.
The rest of Canada, yeah.
Enjoy.
Perfect.
Good luck.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a great week.
Yeah.